Good morning, dear friend. The sky is still dim, painted with soft hues of indigo and gold. The world is quiet. Streetlights flicker like watchful eyes, and the hush of dawn settles gently on your window. There is a stillness now that the rest of the day can never seem to offer. It is the sacred in between the moment when the night gives way to light. When heaven feels just a little bit closer to earth, you are here, perhaps with sleep still clinging to your eyes, but your spirit stirred by something deeper. Maybe you did not wake out of peace, but from a weight pressing on your chest, the kind that no amount of sleep can lift. Maybe you have been carrying the same prayer for weeks, months, or even years, too tired to say it again, too afraid it will go unanswered once more. Somewhere, not long ago, a woman sat alone in her car, parked just outside a hospital she had visited too many times. Inside lay the shell of someone she once called home, her husband. Now barely responsive, doctors had spoken facts. Cold, clinical, and final. But she was not ready to say goodbye. She clutched the steering wheel with both hands and whispered, not eloquently but honestly, "God, I can't do this." Not again. Tears ran down her face. Not because she had no faith, but because faith was all she had left. And still, she was not sure it would be enough. Maybe your story is different. Maybe it is a quiet grief, a financial crisis no one sees, a broken relationship that haunts you, an addiction you are ashamed to name. Or maybe it is just the sheer exhaustion of pretending you are okay when your soul feels like it is crumbling. If so, you are not alone. The God who watches over sparrows sees you too. This is not just a morning like any other. This is not just another prayer. This is an invitation, a journey, a whisper from heaven calling your name in the early light. You did not wake by accident. Something sacred stirs beneath the surface of your routine. Something holy awaits beyond the H. Today, we begin not by pretending everything is fine, by telling the truth of where we are. God does not require perfection. He longs for honesty. He welcomes the tired, the angry, the confused, the fearful. The breakthrough you are longing for may not come in the form you expect, but it always begins with surrender. It begins with the whisper, "I am here." Prayer is not a magic spell. It is a conversation. It is not a ritual of the religious, but the breath of the desperate. And it is powerful beyond comprehension. When you pray, you are not just speaking into the void. You are speaking to the one who formed you, the one who numbered your days, the one who is moved not by polished words, but by your beating heart. There is strength in showing up. There is healing in being present. And there is victory, even in the waiting, when your heart is turned toward God. So if all you can do is breathe, then breathe. If all you can offer is silence, then let it be sacred. He is listening. Right now, let the world around you fade. Let every worry, regret, and fear settle to the ground like dust. Take a breath. This is your moment. The light is rising. The day is breaking. And you are not forgotten. Come now. Let us speak together. Let us enter into a place not of answers, but of presence. Let us begin the kind of prayer that does not just ask for change, it invites transformation. Welcome to the quiet hour, the sacred hour, the hour where mountains move and hearts begin to heal. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you in the stillness of this early hour, with nothing in my hands but the weight I have carried for far too long. I do not bring eloquent words or perfect posture. I bring the ache in my chest and the questions I have tucked away for nights that felt too long to bear. My voice feels small, and my hope even smaller, but here I am. I do not know where else to go. I do not know who else would understand what I cannot even say out loud. All I know is that something inside me is breaking, and if I do not lay it before you now, I fear I will not last another day pretending I am fine. You see what others do not. You know how I smile when my heart is unraveling. You know how I function in the daylight and fall apart when the room goes dark. You know the thoughts I silence, the fears I bury, the tears I wipe away before they are seen. I have grown tired of trying to be strong. I have grown wary of pretending that faith means never feeling overwhelmed. I no longer want to hide the pain behind shallow prayers. I want to be real with you because you are real with me. You do not ask me to perform. You ask me to come. So I come to you from a valley so dry it echoes with my footsteps. I cannot see fruit here. I cannot see growth or beauty. Everything around me feels barren, silent, lifeless, like bones scattered across a forgotten land. I feel like those bones, left behind by time, by people, maybe even by myself. I am asking you with trembling breath, can these bones live again? Can you still bring life to what I have already declared dead? Can you breathe into places I have given up on? I want to believe, but hope has felt too fragile lately. I have been let down more than once, and even now I brace myself not to be disappointed by silence. I do not want to stay here. I do not want to live in resignation, accepting that nothing will change. I do not want to become numb to longing or afraid of dreaming. I want to believe that what looks dead to me is still alive to you. I want to believe that you are not done with me yet, even if everything in me says it is too late, too broken, too far gone. I want to believe that you can still do something with these pieces. I am not asking you to explain the pain. I do not need all the answers. I just need to know that you are with me in this valley, that you see me when I feel invisible, that you hear me even when my words fail, that you are not afraid of my doubts or anger or exhaustion. I need to feel your presence more than I need solutions. I need to remember that I am not walking through this alone, that even in the silence, you are still holding me. Sometimes the hardest part is not what happened, but how much it changed me. I look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. I miss who I used to be. I miss the joy I used to wake up with. I miss the way I used to pray without fear, without walls. Somewhere along the way, I stopped believing that you would answer. Somewhere I convinced myself that you were too busy, or that I was too messed up, or that maybe I had failed you too many times to be restored. But deep down, I still long for you. I still ache for the sound of your whisper in the middle of the storm. I still believe, even if only faintly, that you can pull me out of this. So here I am with empty hands, asking you to fill what is hollow, to awaken what has been asleep, to speak life where death has settled in. I am not looking for a performance. I am looking for an encounter. I am looking for you. Not just for what you can do, but for who you are. Not just to fix my circumstances, but to anchor my heart again. Because if I can feel you near, I know I can face what is ahead. If I can hear you call my name again, I will find strength to rise. I do not ask to skip the process. I only ask that you walk me through it. That you hold me while I learn to breathe again. That you remind me who I am when I forget. That you shelter me when the wind picks up and the rain comes hard. That you speak when all I hear is the echo of my fear. Let this morning mark the beginning of something holy. Not because everything changes overnight, because I choose to open my heart in the middle of the valley and believe that you are not finished with me. You do not need perfection to move. You need surrender. And I am surrendering the weight I cannot carry, the expectations I cannot meet, the shame I cannot shake, the disappointments I carry like scars. I give them to you, even if it feels risky, even if I am afraid to hope again. I give you what I have because it is all I have, and I trust that it is enough for you. Breathe into me again, like you did in the beginning when you formed man from dust and filled him with life. Breathe into this tired soul, into this restless mind, into this cracked and aching heart. Speak to these dry bones, and let them rise. Let them dance again. Let them live again. I may not feel strong, but I am showing up. And maybe that is enough for you to begin something beautiful. If all I can do is whisper, let my whisper reach you. If all I can do is weep, let my tears be counted by you. If all I can do is sit in the silence and hope you are near, then I will sit here and wait, because deep down, I believe you are still the God who brings life from death, light from darkness, hope from despair. I believe you are still the God who sees, who stays, who saves. And even now, in this dry valley, I believe you are breathing again. God, I do not know how to silence the ache that keeps waking me before the sun rises. My body wants rest, but my soul is restless. And now that I have whispered my way into your presence, I find myself unable to stop. I thought maybe yesterday's tears were enough. I thought maybe I had said everything there was to say. But the deeper I go, the more I find beneath the surface. Pain I did not expect, questions I did not want to ask, memories I thought I had already buried. They are surfacing, and they are loud, and I cannot pretend they are not there. It hurts to feel this deeply. It hurts to be this honest. But I think you already know that. You knew what was unraveling before I even opened my mouth. You heard the cry I was too ashamed to voice. And now that it is here, I want to say it all. I want to release what I have been holding back, even if it makes my voice tremble, even if it makes my chest feel raw. I do not want to be composed. I want to be real. I want to stand before you without armor, without filters, without the need to impress you with faith I do not feel in this moment. There is a wilderness inside me, Lord, a place that feels abandoned and dry. And for so long I have walked through it like a stranger. I have built walls inside of myself to keep everything, contained my disappointments, my fears, my anger at how things turned out. But walls do not protect. They isolate. And I am tired of being my own prisoner. I want to tear them down. I want to hand you every broken expectation, every unanswered prayer, every moment I wondered if you still saw me. I want to hand you the pieces, even if they cut as I let them go. Because the truth is, I have felt forgotten, even as I smiled through prayers and sang songs of praise. I wondered deep down if you had passed me by. I watched others rise while I stayed still. I watched doors open for them while mine stayed shut. And though I clapped and cheered, something in me whispered, "What about me? Did you see my sacrifice? Did you hear my midnight prayers? Was I not faithful? Was I not enough?" I know I am not supposed to ask, but I cannot keep quiet anymore. If I cannot be honest with you, then where can I go? If I cannot cry here, where tears are met with compassion, then I am truly alone. So here is the cry I have buried, the one I dressed in strength and quiet obedience. I do not want to run from it anymore. I do not want to push it away. I want to bring it into the light, because I believe you are not afraid of my questions. You are not offended by my pain. You are not distant from the struggle. You are the God who enters it with me, who sits in the dust beside me, who hears even the cries that never leave my lips. You are not just the God of the miracle. You are the God of the waiting, the God of the silence, the God of the wilderness. So I cry to you from this place not with eloquence, but with truth. I cry because I do not know what else to do. I cry because I want to believe there is still more ahead than what I have seen. I cry because the road has been long, and my feet are tired, and I need you to carry me for a while. I cry because even though I do not feel you, I still want you. And that wanting feels like hope. Even when it hurts, it feels like faith. Even when I cannot explain it, it feels like life calling out from the ashes, daring to believe that beauty could rise again. I am not asking for you to fix everything today. I'm just asking you not to leave me here alone. I am asking you to hear the sound my soul cracking open and to meet me in the middle of it. I am asking you to come into the mess, not with condemnation, but with comfort, to remind me that even in the wildest parts of my heart, you are present, that even here, surrounded by nothing familiar, nothing predictable, you are still leading me somewhere. You have always been the God who hears the wilderness cry. You heard Hagar when she was abandoned. You heard Hannah when she wept without words. You heard David when he hid in caves and begged to be remembered. So I believe you hear me too, not because I am strong, not because I am worthy, but because I am yours, and you never turn away from what belongs to you. Even now, as I speak these words, I feel something shifting, not around me, but within me, a small sense of release, like a window cracked open in a room long closed. The air is moving again. It is not deliverance yet, but it is presence. It is not the finish line, but it is movement. I will take that. I will hold on to that. If this wilderness is where you meet me, then I will meet you here. If this dry land is where you choose to speak, then I will quiet my spirit to listen. I do not know how long this road will be. I do not know when the next turn will come or what it will bring. But if you are here, then I am not lost. If you are here, then I can keep walking. I do not need all the answers. I just need your nearness. And today, in all my fragile honesty, I choose to believe that you are drawing near to the brokenhearted, that you are binding wounds even as they bleed, that you are gathering every tear like treasure, that my cry is not wasted. It is the sound of a soul returning to you. Laud. Somewhere in the middle of the tears and the silence, I felt something stir a memory, faint and flickering, like the first stars blinking into a twilight sky. As I sat in the heaviness of my confession, in the wilderness of my longing, something whispered from deep within, calling me back, not to pain, not to regret, but to remembrance. Not everything behind me is sorrow. There were days, precious and holy, when I knew you were near, moments I had forgotten, buried beneath layers of disappointment and fatigue. But now they rise, like rain returning to parched ground. You have not always been silent. I know that. I remember now how you spoke before I even knew how to listen. I remember the nights when I fell asleep with peace wrapped around me like a blanket, not because life was perfect, but because I trusted that you were holding it all. I remember the breakthroughs I did not ask for but received. The phone call at the exact right moment. The unexpected provision. The door that opened when every other one had closed. I remember the small kindnesses, the quiet confirmations, the way you made me feel seen in a world that often overlooks. There were seasons when my heart was light, when joy came easily, when I danced in worship with arms wide open and tears of gratitude streaming down my face. I remember how the sound of your name alone would undo me. I remember mornings when the sun rising felt like you whispering, "I am here," and nights when the stars spoke promises I did not doubt. I remember how I used to dream with you. Not cautiously, but boldly. I believed for things that made no sense on paper. And still, you came through. You were faithful then. And if you were faithful then, why not now? If you saw me then, you must still see me. If you moved before, who told me you would not move again? Was it time that hardened me? Was it the waiting? Was it the wounds? Maybe it was all of them. Maybe I let the dust of disappointment settle on my soul, and I stopped going back to the altars of memory where you once met me. But I am there now, Lord. I am standing in the place of remembrance, and I am letting it soften me, letting it teach me to hope again, because I remember who you are. You are the same God who walked with me through the heartbreak I thought would break me, the same God who comforted me when the call came late in the night with news I never wanted to hear. You are the same God who gave me breath when I had no strength to speak, who gave me laughter when I thought I would never smile again. You are the same God who rescued me from patterns I thought I would never escape. You found me in moments I did not even realize I was lost. I remember now the prayers you answered, not always the way I expected, but always with wisdom and timing I only understood later. I remember how you protected me from things I begged you for, how you closed doors that would have led me far from who I was meant to become. I remember the healing not all at once, but over time, quietly, steadily, like water softening stone. I remember the people you placed in my life just when I needed someone to remind me I was not alone. These memories are holy ground. And even in remembering, I realize I never gave you proper thanks for so much. I moved on too quickly. I was eager for the next breakthrough, the next provision, and I forgot to linger in gratitude. I forgot to sit with the goodness long enough to let it transform me. But I do not want to forget anymore. I want to remember deeply. I want to mark the places where you came through, where you showed up, where you whispered comfort and roared deliverance. This remembering it is healing something in me. It is loosening the grip of fear. It is softening the edges of my doubt, because when I remember your goodness, I remember that you are not bound by time, that what you have done before, you can do again, that the rains which once fell will fall again, that even if the clouds have been dry for a while, they still hold water. You are still the God who sends the rain, and I believe you are stirring the Father. The memories still linger like gentle echoes, and as I hold them in my heart, something deeper begins to awaken. Not just the recollection of your goodness, but the H for closeness I once knew so well. There was a time when I did not just believe in you, I delighted in you. I did not just speak to you, I longed to be with you. It was not about answered prayers or open doors. It was about your presence, and I miss that. I miss you. Not because you have gone anywhere, but because I have drifted. I see it now, clearer than ever. I let the pressure of surviving silence the joy of abiding. I let the weight of disappointments build walls between us. And somewhere along the way, without meaning to, I began to seek your hand more than your heart. I began to chase blessings instead of intimacy. I made my requests louder than my worship, and my fears more urgent than my adoration. But I remember the way it used to be. The stillness, the sweetness, the way just being with you was enough. Lord, I want to return, not to a feeling or a routine, but to you, to that deep, quiet place where my soul meets yours with nothing to prove and nothing to earn, where I do not come to be rescued or rewarded, but simply to be with the one who made me. I want to sit at your feet again. I want to rest my head on your chest like a child who trusts without hesitation. I want to lay aside the questions and demands and simply be. Not for what you can give, but for who you are. There is something sacred in this remembering, something that stirs a longing I cannot ignore, the kind of longing that cannot be filled with noise or success or approval. Only you, only the nearness of your voice, the warmth of your presence, the whisper of your spirit drawing me back. I realize now how far I let myself drift, not in rebellion, but in distraction, not in sin, but in business, not by turning away, but by slowly forgetting the joy of turning toward you first. I confess that I let other things crowd the sacred. I let anxiety speak louder than trust. I let hurry push past stillness. I let disappointment redefine hope. And yet, Even now, I feel you calling me back, not with condemnation, but with kindness, not with guilt, but with grace. You never stopped loving me. You never stopped waiting. And now that I have stopped long enough to see it, I want nothing more than to come back to the center, to the place where you are not just part of my life, but the heartbeat of it. Let this be the moment when I stop chasing shadows and return to the light. Let this be the hour when I put down every burden not meant for me and take up the simplicity of knowing you again. I do not want performance. I want presence. I do not want perfection. I want proximity. I want to live from love, not for it. To move with you, not just toward you. To walk in step with you again. Unhurried. Undivided. Unafraid. Bring me back to the days when I woke up not with a to-do list, but with a desire to talk to you. Bring me back to the nights when I fell asleep mid-sentence because I had been pouring out my heart to you without effort or reservation. Bring me back to the songs I used to sing when no one was listening. To the joy I found in Scripture when it was not about study, but about communion. To the tears that came without shame when I simply sat in your presence and felt known. I am not the same person I was then, and that is okay, but the flame that once burned so bright has not died. It has only grown dim under the weight of a world too heavy to carry alone. So breathe on it again, fan it into fire. Remind me what it feels like to burn with love for you, not because of obligation or fear, but because nothing else satisfies. Let my affections return to you, pure and unfiltered. Let my soul lean in again, not for what it needs, but because it remembers what it means to be close. I know now that I was made for this, not for noise or striving or proving myself. I was made to walk with you in the cool of the day, to abide in you like a branch clings to the vine, to remain connected through joy and sorrow alike. You are not a destination. You are the way. You are not a solution. You are the source. And everything my heart is aching for finds its answer in nearness to you. So I come again, not with the confidence of one who has it all figured out, but with the humility of one who finally knows where home is. I come not to reclaim something old, but to discover something deeper, a new beginning, wrapped in ancient truth, a love that was never lost, only buried beneath the noise. I am brushing the dust off now. I am pulling away the layers, and underneath it all, I find you still waiting, still calling, still loving. This is not about fixing what was. It is about stepping into what can be. It is about beginning again, not from lack, but from love. You are not asking for more effort. You are inviting me into more intimacy, and I am saying yes, even if I do not feel worthy, even if I do not know how. I am saying yes to loving you first, to seeking you above all else, to remembering not just what you have done, but who you are, and letting that be enough. Let this be the moment my heart turns fully back. Let this be the day I choose you again. Let everything else fade into its proper place, and let you become my first love once more. Lord, as I rest in the nearness of you, as my heart leans into what it means to return, I realize how much I need to be made clean, not just comforted or calmed, but truly cleansed. All this time I have been trying to quiet the noise within, to settle my soul with words and worship. But now I feel the deeper invitation. You are not asking me to cover the mess. You are inviting me to let you wash it away, to bring all that still lingers in the corners of my heart, and let your mercy do what only mercy can do. There are things I have carried for far too long, choices I regret, moments I wish I could erase, thoughts I let take root that never belonged in me. There are words I spoke in anger, silence I held when I should have stood in truth, actions that fractured more than they healed. I cannot go back and undo them, but I can bring them to you. I can lay them at your feet without pretending they are anything but what they are. I can confess them not with shame that cripples me, but with hope that trusts you are already reaching toward me with forgiveness. You know the parts of me that still ache with guilt, the apologies I never gave, the pride I never surrendered, the selfishness that hid behind noble words. You know the masks I wore to look faithful while inside I was faltering. You see the split between the version of me others admire and the one I try to hide. And still, you do not turn away. Still, you offer mercy that runs deeper than my failures. Still, you invite me to come as I am, not to be tolerated, but to be restored. So I bring it all to you, every compromise I justified, every bitter thought I let linger, every wound I caused out of my own brokenness. I do not excuse them. I do not dismiss them. I name them one by one, because I believe your mercy is stronger than my shame. I believe you are not only willing to forgive, but eager to restore. I believe that when you see me, you see the possibility of wholeness, not the stain of my past. Cleanse me, Lord, not just on the outside, not just in behavior, but deep in the places no one else can see, in the thoughts that run through my mind when no one is watching, in the motives that drive me without my awareness, in the attitudes I have normalized but that poison my peace. Reach into the hidden places, the silent corners, and pour your mercy there. Let it soak through every layer. Let it touch what has been untouched for too long. I do not want to carry secret shame anymore. I do not want to live trying to manage sin instead of being free from it. I do not want to wear a mask of strength when what I need is the humility to ask for cleansing. I want to be real with you in every way, not just in the pain I feel, but in the wrong I have done. Not to condemn myself, but to let you lift the weight, to let you speak over me words I thought I had disqualified myself from hearing. You are forgiven. You are loved. You are mine. Let your mercy wash over my thoughts, so that guilt no longer clouds how I see myself. Let it wash over my body, so that shame no longer keeps me from feeling worthy of your presence. Let it wash over my spirit, so that I no longer flinch at the idea of being fully known. Let it reach backward to where I first began to drift, and bring me forward with grace as my covering. I do not want to live afraid of what you might uncover. I want to live grateful for what you have already redeemed. Help me to forgive myself. Father, in the same way you have already forgiven me, help me to let go of the constant rehearsing of my failures. Help me to release the guilt I have worn like a second skin. I do not want to hold on to what you have already buried. I do not want to cling to chains you have already broken. Teach me how to live in the freedom of being clean. Teach me how to walk as one who is not earning mercy, but living in the overflow of it. And just as I receive your forgiveness, I choose to extend it to those who wounded me, knowingly or unknowingly, to the ones who never apologized, and even to those who never will. I release them not because they deserve it, but because I cannot hold both resentment and renewal in the same heart. I let go, not to forget, but to be free. I forgive because I have been forgiven. I show mercy because I am daily covered in it. Let this moment mark a turning. Let it be the place where I stop looking back and begin to step forward, not carrying my old labels, but clothed in your grace, not dragging the weight of yesterday, but rising into today with a heart that has been made new. I know I will stumble again. I know I will fall short. But now I understand that mercy is not a one-time gift, it is the river that never runs dry. It meets me in the morning, carries me through the day, and washes me clean again when night falls. I do not take your grace for granted. I do not want to treat it lightly. I want to honor it by living honestly, humbly, and surrendered. I want my life to be a reflection of the mercy that saved me, not just in my words, but in how I love, how I forgive, how I serve, not to repay you, but to let my life echo what you have done in me. I want every breath I take to whisper, I am redeemed. So I stand here, bare before you, not afraid, but grateful. Grateful that nothing I have done is stronger than what you have already finished. Grateful that you do not define me by my worst moments. Grateful that your kindness leads me to repentance, not fear. And as your mercy washes over me once more, I feel it not just as something I believe, but something I know. I am clean. I am held. I am home. Father, now that I have let your mercy cleanse the places I tried so hard to hide, I feel a stillness beginning to settle inside me. It is subtle, but steady, like the calm that follows after a long night of storms. For the first time in a while, I feel the space you have made in me. The clutter has been cleared, the noise has quieted, and in that sacred emptiness, you are offering something I never knew how much I needed: peace. Real peace, not the fragile kind that depends on circumstances, but the kind that remains even when nothing else makes sense. You are not asking me to carry what you have already taken. You are inviting me into a divine exchange, where I no longer have to hold on to things not meant for me. The anxiety I have worn like armor, the pressure to perform, the worry about outcomes I cannot control, all of it is heavy, and none of it belongs in my hands. I have spent so much energy trying to manage everything, to keep things from falling apart, to hold people together, to fix what I never had the power to fix. But you never asked me to be the one holding it all. You asked me to trust the one who is. So here I am again, with open hands. Not empty because of lack, but open because I am finally ready to let go. I surrender the fear that tells me I am not enough, the expectation that I have to be perfect to be loved, the comparison that robs my joy, the shame that whispers I will never really be free. I lay them all down, not out of defeat, but out of trust. I release them because I believe you have something better to give, and I do not want to miss it because my hands were too full of what never truly served me. In return, I ask you to place within me what only you can offer. Let your peace settle deep into my soul, not just for a moment, but as my new default. Let it fill the quiet spaces where anxiety used to live. Let it become the sound I wake up to, the rhythm I move to, the presence that steadies me when life does not. Let it be the stillness that reminds me I am held, even when I do not understand the path. I want that kind of peace, not the absence of trouble, but the nearness of you in the middle of it. I also lay down my need for control. I admit that I have held on to plans with clenched fists, trying to write every line of my own story, afraid of what might happen if I do not. I have gripped timelines and outcomes, not realizing how much it has kept me from resting in you. But I cannot hold peace and control at the same time. So I choose to loosen my grip. I choose to hand you the pen, the map, the clock. You are better at being God than I am at pretending I know what is best. You see the whole picture. You know where this leads, and I trust that your way, even when it is unclear, is always good. I also give you my exhaustion, the emotional weight of trying to be everything for everyone, the mental fatigue of carrying worries that do not belong to me, the spiritual weariness from running in circles, trying to prove I am okay. I am not okay on my own, but I am not on my own. You are here, and you are not asking me to be strong without you. You are asking me to rest in you, to lean on you, to remember that you are the source, not me, that my strength is not in striving, but in surrendering. As I make this exchange, I ask for clarity, not for every answer, but for enough light to take the next step. Let your wisdom fill the spaces where confusion has lived. Let your truth become the lens through which I see myself, my circumstances, and the people around me. Replace my assumptions with discernment. Replace my doubts with faith. Replace my wandering thoughts with focused vision. I do not need to see the whole road, but I want to walk it with you one step at a time, without fear. And Lord, I bring you my broken expectations, the things I thought would have happened by now, the places I believed I would be, the prayers I thought you would answer differently. They have sat heavy in my heart, creating tension between trust and disappointment. But now I place them in your hands, not because they do not matter, but because I believe you are still writing something beautiful even through the pages that confuse me. I do not want bitterness to grow where surrender should take root. Teach me how to lay down what I thought life would look like, so I can embrace what you are actually doing. In exchange, I ask for joy, not the fleeting kind that depends on everything going right, but the kind that bubbles up even in the midst of uncertainty, the kind that is rooted in knowing I am deeply loved, fully seen, and completely known by you, the kind that sings even when the night is long. Let your joy be my strength, my song, and my shield. Let it lift my eyes when they grow heavy. Let it remind me that I am never forgotten, never disqualified, never alone. I also surrender the heaviness I carry for others, the people I cannot fix, the situations I cannot control. I release them into your care, not out of apathy, but out of trust. You love them more than I do. You see them more clearly. You know what they truly need. So I lay them down, one by one, and ask you to do what only you can do. In exchange, give me compassion without anxiety, faith without fear, love without burden. Let me be a vessel, not the source, a light, not the flame. This exchange, Lord, is not a transaction. It is transformation. It is the invitation to live differently, to walk lighter, to breathe deeper, to rest more fully in who you are and who I am in you. I am not here to make a deal. I am here to let go of the things that have weighed me down so I can finally move freely into the life you have always wanted for me, a life of peace, purpose, and presence. A life that reflects you not because I have everything together, but because I know where to place what falls apart. Let this be the beginning of a new way of living. One where I run to you first. One where I walk with open hands. One where peace is not a rare guest, but a constant companion. One where I no longer carry what is not mine, but receive all that you long to give. I am ready for that life. I am ready for that peace. I am ready for the great exchange. Lord, as I rise from the stillness of surrender, with peace beginning to steady my heart, I feel something shifting deep within me, like a quiet fire being stoked back to life. What once felt like weakness now feels like readiness. What once felt like retreat now feels like preparation. You have not just called me to rest in you, but to stand with you. I can sense it, even before I fully understand it. You are not only my refuge, you are also my commander. You are not only the one who calms the storm, you are the one who calls me to walk on the waves. You are preparing me for battle, and I no longer want to be passive in the places I was created to take authority. So today, Father, I ask that you anoint me for war, not war against people, but against every lie, every fear, every darkness that has tried to claim a place in my life. I am done shrinking in the presence of opposition. I am done bowing to the pressure of spiritual defeat. I will not live timid in places where you have called me to be bold. I will not keep handing ground to the enemy because I am afraid of confrontation. You have given me power not my own, but yours. You have given me authority not because I am worthy, but because I am yours. Clothe me, Lord, in the armor that does not wear out. Fasten around my waist the belt of truth, not the truth of my feelings, but the unshakable truth of who you are and who I am in you. Cover my heart with the breastplate of righteousness, not based on my performance, but based on the finished work of Christ. Fit my feet with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Let me stand with balance, unmoved by chaos. Place on my arm the shield of faith to extinguish every dart of doubt and discouragement that comes flying my way. Let it rise strong between me and every attack. Crown my head with the helmet of salvation, protecting my mind from lies, confusion, and compromise, and place the sword of the Spirit in my hand, your living word, sharper than any blade, cutting through deception and fear with clarity and power. I do not take this armor lightly. I do not wear it for show. I wear it because I know what I am up against. I know the battle is not against flesh and blood. I know the war is not in the visible, but in the unseen. I have felt it in my thoughts, in my emotions, in the quiet wars no one sees. And now I step into those places, not as a victim, but as a warrior, one who fights not with bitterness or vengeance, but with faith, truth, and the authority that comes from being seated with Christ in heavenly places. You have trained my hands for battle, Lord, not so I can chase victory on my own, but so I can stand my ground when the lies come roaring. So I can speak truth when deception feels louder. So I can break every generational chain that once wrapped itself around my family. I am not afraid anymore. I am not alone anymore. You fight with me. You fight for me. And you have already won. I declare today that I will no longer be silent in the face of the enemy. I will speak when fear tries to steal my voice. I will worship when heaviness tries to sit on my chest. I will declare your promises when my circumstances try to tell me you are absent. I will lift up my head and fix my gaze, because I know the battle belongs to you. And I know you are calling me to rise, not just to survive, but to stand in the victory you have already secured. So I break agreement with every lie I have believed about my identity. I reject the voices that told me I am powerless, unworthy, or invisible. I am a child of God, anointed and equipped, not by my strength, but by your Spirit. I am not disqualified by my past. I am not held back by my failures. I am covered, called, and commissioned. You have given me territory to guard. You have placed promises in my life that I will no longer let the enemy steal. Teach me how to fight the right way, not from panic, but from peace. Not with clenched fists, but with lifted hands. Not trying to earn victory, but enforcing the one you have already won. Let my prayers be arrows. Let my praise be a shield. Let my faith be a fire that the enemy cannot extinguish. And let every word that comes from my mouth align with heaven's truth, not fierce whispers. I speak to every area of my life where darkness has tried to linger, and I say enough. Enough fear. Enough shame. Enough insecurity. I take back the ground that was lost to hopelessness and compromise. I plant my feet and draw the line in the sand. I will not be moved. I will not go back. I was made for this moment, and I will rise into it fully clothed in your strength. And as I fight, I ask you to make me gentle too. Let my boldness never become arrogance. Let my strength never turn into self-righteousness. Let my authority never become a weapon against the wounded. Teach me how to fight with honor, how to protect with love, how to wage war with a spirit that reflects the heart of Christ. Let me defend the broken, intercede for the weary, and stand in the gap for those who cannot yet stand for themselves. You have anointed me not to boast, but to build, not to crush, but to carry, not to conquer in pride, but to serve in power. I take my place, not above others, but under your covering, beside my brothers and sisters, knowing that as we lift our shields together, Darkness trembles as we sing in unity. Chains break as we rise together in your name. Every stronghold must fall. So here I am, Lord, awakened, ready, armed in peace, grounded in truth, fueled by grace. I do not walk into this day alone. I walk as one anointed for war, not because I wanted the battle, but because I refuse to back down from what you have called me to guard. I will protect what you have entrusted to me. I will fight for the freedom you died to give me, and I will stand in the authority you have placed in me, not as a warrior who seeks destruction, but as one who brings light into every dark place. God, now that I have taken my stand, clothed in the armor you have given me, and awakened to the authority you have placed within me, I feel the weight of what still clings to the corners of my soul. Some battles are fought in silence. Some chains are carried so long that they start to feel like part of who we are. But you did not call me to live bound by anything less than freedom. You have not given me partial release. You have not handed me half a victory. You are a deliverer, and where your spirit is, there is liberty. And I believe you are here. So I come to you now, not just as a warrior ready for the fight, but as a child ready to be free. Free from every chain I have carried in secret. Free from habits that entangle. Free from thoughts that accuse. Free from fear that paralyzes. Free from shame that silences. I want to be whole, Lord, not just clean, not just strong, but completely unbound. I am not satisfied with pretending. I am not content with hiding. If there is anything still gripping me, anything hidden in darkness, I am asking you to bring it into the light, not to shame me, but to break it, not to punish me, but to set me free. I speak now to every invisible chain that has kept me in cycles I never chose. Chains of anxiety that tighten when I try to rest. Chains of doubt that choke out my faith. Chains of bitterness that dig into the softest places of my heart. Chains of addiction that promise relief and deliver only regret. Chains of rejection, woven from words once spoken over me that I never released. Chains of failure that whisper I will never be more than my lowest moment. I see them now for what they are, not truth, but bondage. Not protection, but prison. And in your name, Lord, I renounce them all. I break agreement with the lie that says I am defined by my past. I refuse to carry what you died to destroy. I cancel every word spoken over me that did not come from your heart. Every curse, every insult, every toxic label, I return them to the pit where they came from. They have no power here. They do not belong to me. I declare that I am not what happened to me. I am not what was said about me. I am not the mistakes I made or the pain I have endured. I am yours. If there is any spirit that has attached itself to my weakness, any darkness that has tried to dwell in my vulnerability, I command it now to leave in the name of Jesus. I do not belong to fear. I do not belong to despair. I do not belong to trauma. I belong to truth. I belong to hope. I belong to a kingdom where chains break, graves open, and captives walk free. And I declare that I am walking out of this prison today, not with shame on my back, but with light in my eyes, not with guilt in my hands, but with praise on my lips. I speak freedom over my mind, clarity where there was confusion, peace where there was torment. I speak freedom over my body, strength where there was exhaustion, health where there was weakness. I speak freedom over my emotions, joy where there was heaviness, calm where there was chaos. I speak freedom over my decisions, wisdom where there was impulsiveness, discernment where there was blindness. And I speak freedom over my relationships, healing where there was hurt, restoration where there was distance, boundaries where there was harm. Lord, I ask that you destroy not only the chains, but the roots. Dig deep beneath the surface and tear out anything that keeps trying to grow back. Break the patterns, break the soul ties, break the spiritual attachments that I did not invite, but have struggled to shake. Cut off every access point that the enemy has used. Close every door that should never have been opened, and cover me now, fully and completely, in your protection. Let every broken place be sealed by your presence, every vulnerable space guarded by your glory. And I do not pray this only for myself. I lift up the ones I love, who are still entangled in battles they do not know how to name. For the friend who can break free from addiction. For the sibling stuck in the web of comparison and despair. For the parent who carries the secret pain of shame. For the child who has already learned how to pretend. For every soul crying out in silence, unaware that freedom is possible. Let the sound of deliverance echo from my life into theirs. Let the chains that fall from me be the proof they need to believe you can do the same for them. Let this be the generation that no longer inherits bondage. Let this be the moment where generational curses end and generational blessings begin. Let this be the day when cycles are shattered, not just for me, but for those who come after me. I declare that what held my parents will not hold me. What weighed down my ancestors will not weigh down my children. The trauma stops here. The silence breaks here. The deliverance begins here. And Lord, teach me how to walk in freedom, not just a one-time deliverance, but a daily choice to live unchained. Show me how to protect the ground you have given me. Show me how to speak life when lies come knocking again. Show me how to rest without fear returning. I do not want to be free in word only. I want to live it. I want to carry it. I want to release it into every place I go. Let my presence shift atmospheres because I carry the evidence of freedom. Let my story be a weapon against oppression. Let my scars be proof that chains can break and never return. I know now that deliverance is not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to surrender to it. I know that freedom is not always loud. Sometimes it is a quiet resolve, a whisper of yes when the old voices try to rise again. A firm no when temptation comes dressed as comfort. Step forward when everything inside wants to run. So give me that kind of strength, Lord. The kind that remembers, the kind that resists, the kind that holds fast to your promise even in the face of pressure. I am not the same as I was. Something broke when I spoke. Something shifted when I stood. Something changed when I believed. The chains did not just fall, they disintegrated. And I will not look for them again. I will not pick them up out of habit. I will not wear them like a memory. I will walk forward in the light of who I am now, and who I am is free. Father, Now that the chains have fallen and the grip of darkness has been broken, I come to you not only as one set free, but as one in need of healing. Freedom and healing are not the same. Freedom opens the door, but healing allows me to walk through it without limping. I do not want to be free yet still wounded. I do not want to carry invisible bruises or pretend I'm whole while quietly unraveling inside. I want to be made well not just in body, but in spirit, in mind, in memory, in everything that still aches when no one is watching. God, you see the wounds that time could not close, the ones covered by smiles and distractions, the ones I have learned to ignore because I thought they were not worth naming. But you see beneath all that. You see the parts of me still tender from words I believed too young and scars I collected too quietly. You see the trauma stored in my body, the tension in my shoulders, the weight in my chest, the tremble in my breath when old memories echo back without warning. And you do not flinch. You do not turn away. You come close with healing in your wings. So come now, Lord. Touch every part of me that has been hiding. Speak gently to the broken places I have kept guarded. Pour out healing not just over my symptoms, but into the root of every wound. Heal the parts of me that stopped trusting when promises were broken. Heal the corners of my soul where hope became afraid to grow. Heal the habits I formed as defense, the thoughts I rehearsed to feel safe, the silence I adopted because it felt easier than asking for help. I bring you my physical body too. Every cell, every nerve, every system that feels the strain of stress and sorrow. I know you care not only for my soul, but for the vessel that carries it. So I ask you to move through me with healing power, regulate what has been disrupted, strengthen what has been weakened, restore what has been taken by illness or imbalance. Let your presence flow through me like a stream, washing away what does not belong. Let pain be relieved, swelling subside, and function be restored. Let my body remember what it is to be whole. And in the same breath, I ask you to enter the inner rooms of my emotions, places where I still feel fragmented, where loss has left an echo, where betrayal built walls I did not know were still standing. I do not need to relive the pain, but I do need to release it. I do not want it shaping the way I love, trust, or see the world. I ask you to pull it out gently, like removing a thorn that has been there so long I forgot how it felt to live without it. Heal my heart, Lord, not just so I can feel better, but so I can love deeper. Heal me from bitterness disguised as caution, from control masked as preparation, from insecurity that shows up as perfectionism, from sadness that dresses itself as apathy. Let me be honest about what still hurts, not to dwell in it, but to invite you into it. Because you do not heal what I hide. You heal what I bring into your hands. And so I lay it down now, all of it. The disappointments I never talked about, the comparisons that poisoned my joy, the grief I tucked beneath business, the guilt that crept in through quiet regrets. Touch my memories, God, the ones that still sting when I think back, the ones that changed how I see myself, the ones that make me flinch when I hear a name, see a photo, or walk into a familiar place. Let your love go back to those moments and rewrite the narrative. Show me where you were when it hurt. Let me see your face in the rooms where I thought I was alone. Let me feel the embrace I did not know I needed. Let me hear your voice in the silence I once feared. Redeem it all, Lord, not by erasing the past, but by transforming it with your presence. I also ask for spiritual healing, for the places where my faith has grown thin, where disappointment crept in and distorted how I see you, where I began to question your goodness because life did not make sense. I want to trust you again, not with shallow optimism, but with rooted belief. I want to come back to that place of awe, of childlike wonder, of simple yes. Heal the fractures in my faith. Breathe fresh life into my spirit. Let the fire that once burned become steady and sure again. Let your word no longer feel distant or dull, but alive and personal. And Father, I ask for healing in my identity. I have let too many voices tell me who I am. I have let failure name me. I have let fear limit me. I have let past versions of myself dictate who I believe I can be. But you call me chosen. You call me whole. You call me beloved. So speak that truth into the marrow of who I am. Rebuild what insecurity has dismantled. Remind me of the original design. Heal the identity that trauma tried to alter. Let me see myself through your eyes, redeemed, radiant, restored. Let your healing be both quiet and powerful. Let it move like oil over wounds and fire over darkness. Let it be steady, day by day, as I lean into you. Let me not chase quick fixes, but embrace the process. Some things may take time, and I trust you with that time. I trust you with the layers. I trust you with the timing. I trust you to finish what you start. I want to live unburdened. I want to wake up without dreading the day. I want to laugh without hesitation. I want to rest without wrestling with old ghosts. I want to love without fear of loss. I want to walk in rooms and bring peace instead of pretending to have it. I want to be whole, not just so I can feel better, but so I can live fully present, grateful, and unafraid. Let this be the beginning of healing that reaches generations. Let it run through me into my family, my friendships, my legacy. Let the wounds I surrender today become the testimonies I carry tomorrow. Let the healing I receive become the healing I release. I am open. I am ready. I am yours. Heal me, Lord, not just to restore what was, but to reveal what can be. Father, as the healing begins to settle into the places I once were beyond repair, a deeper truth begins to rise inside me, one that feels both fragile and powerful. You see me, not just in passing, not like a crowd scanned from a distance, but deeply, personally, and with full awareness. You see me, not only for what I show to the world, but for who I really am behind every layer. And somehow, you do not turn away. Somehow, you are still here. That truth changes everything. 'Cause for so long I have carried the quiet H of invisibility. Not because people did not love me, but because so often I have felt overlooked in the places that mattered most. I have walked through rooms full of voices and still felt alone. I have smiled through conversations while silently wondering if anyone noticed the weight I was carrying. And somewhere deep inside, I began to believe that if no one saw the real me, maybe even you had stopped looking. But I was wrong. You never looked away. You never lost sight of who I am. You saw me when I tried to disappear behind performance. You saw me when I tried to hide beneath shame. You saw me when I felt abandoned, not just by others, but by hope itself. You saw me when I failed, when I fumbled through the dark, when I prayed with more desperation than faith. You saw me when my silence said more than my words ever could. And in all of it, you stayed. You did not retreat. You leaned in closer. You are not distant. You are not disinterested. You are not distracted by someone else's story. You are the God who sees. The one who noticed Hagar in the wilderness, forgotten and rejected, and called her by name. The one who watched a widow give her last 2 coins and called it beautiful. The one who looked past the crowds and locked eyes with Zacchaeus in a tree. You are not moved by spectacle. You are drawn to the unseen. And that includes me, God. I confess that I have spent too much time trying to earn attention, trying to prove that I am worth seeing. I have performed for applause, worked for recognition, and bent parts of myself into shapes I thought others would value. But it never satisfied, because being noticed for what I do can never replace being known for who I am. And with you, I do not have to try. I do not have to shout. I do not have to strive. You already know. You already see. You already care. Let truth sink deep into every place in me that still reaches for approval. Let it comfort the younger version of me who longed to be chosen. Let it calm the present version of me who still fears being forgotten. Let it speak peace to the parts of me that feel like background noise in a world full of louder voices. Because you hear even my whisper, you notice even my sigh. And when others pass by, you stay close. There is no part of me that escapes your attention. Not the way I wake in the night, replaying conversations. Not the way I carry unspoken concerns about those I love. Not the dreams I bury 'cause they feel too fragile to name. Not the tears that come when I least expect them. Not the joy I feel but do not know how to express. You see it all. You understand it fully. And you treasure every part. I am not hidden from you. Not my pain. Not my joy. Not my confusion, not my hope, not even the questions I still have not dared to ask. You see them, and you do not flinch. You do not grow wary of me. You are not overwhelmed by my process. You are not disappointed by my pace. You stay. You wait. You walk beside me with patience that stretches beyond time and compassion that cannot be measured. So teach me how to rest in that knowing. Teach me how to stop trying to be seen and instead learn how to be still. Teach me how to stop performing for love and instead receive it freely. Teach me how to let your gaze define me more than anyone else's ever could. I do not want to live my life searching for validation that you already gave. I do not want to exhaust myself earning worth I already have. I want to live seen, to walk through this world grounded in the truth that I am never unnoticed, to speak with confidence that my voice matters, not because it is the loudest, but because it is mine and you gave it to me. To love others from a place of fullness. not desperation. To rest, even when no one acknowledges the work I have done, because you saw it and called it faithful. Let that be enough for me. And Lord, open my eyes too. Help me to see others the way you see them. Help me to slow down enough to notice the ones who feel invisible, the ones who sit on the edge, who speak softly, who hope someone will care enough to ask a second time. Let me carry the same love you give to me. Let my life be a reminder to someone else that they are seen, valued, and held. Let me speak the words I have longed to hear into someone else's wilderness. You have always been the God who sees, and now I want to live like it. I want to rise each morning knowing that before I speak, before I act, before I try to prove or perform or please, I am already seen, fully, tenderly, eternally. Let that truth be the lens through which I view every moment. Let it steady me when I feel unseen. Let it empower me when I feel small. Let it anchor me when the world moves too fast to notice. Thank you for being the one who never looks away, for being the God who does not just pass through my story, but stays in it, who knows my name when others forget it, who counts my steps and catches my tears, who never misses a moment and never misses my heart. I am not invisible in your presence. I am not forgotten in your hands. I am seen, and in that seeing, I am safe. Lord, now that I know I am seen, something in me longs to listen, not just to the noise of the world or the echo of my own thoughts, but to you, to your voice, to your whisper, to the sound of your presence moving through the quiet places of my life. I am learning that being seen is only part of the intimacy you offer. You also want to speak, and not in thunder or spectacle, but in the gentle breath of morning, in the spaces where my heart is finally still enough to hear. I admit that somewhere along the way, I stopped listening, not because I stopped believing, but because I got overwhelmed. Life became too loud, too urgent, too full of demands and distractions. Even when I prayed, I often filled the silence with my own words, afraid of what might rise up if I allowed stillness to stretch. And in doing so, I began to forget what your voice sounded like. It became harder to tell the difference between conviction and condemnation, between fear and discernment, between my feelings and your leading. But I miss hearing you, Lord. I miss the certainty that used to rise within me when I knew you had spoken. I miss the warmth that followed when your words settled deep in my spirit. I miss the sense of direction that did not need full clarity, just trust. I miss how one whisper from you could calm 100 anxious thoughts. I want to return to that place not for the sake of power or revelation, but for relationship. I want to hear you because I love you, because your voice is life to me. So I ask you now, gently and honestly, would you speak again, not with lightning or earthquake, but like you did with Elijah through the still, small voice that only the hungry can hear. Let your words find me where I am. Let them cut through the noise, the fear, the assumptions. Let them anchor me in truth when everything around me feels unstable. I do not need a dramatic answer. I just need a holy reminder that you are near, that you are guiding, that you have not gone silent. Father, open my ears again, not just physically, but spiritually. Tune my heart to the frequency of heaven. Let me be so aware of your presence that even the slightest nudge draws my full attention. Let me not overlook the subtle ways you lead, the quiet prompt to pause, the unexpected verse that lingers, the name that rises in my spirit, urging me to pray, the sense of peace that gently redirects me. Train me to recognize these as your voice, not coincidence. And while you teach me to hear you again, help me to trust what I hear, because sometimes it is not the volume of your voice that I doubt, but the worthiness of mine to receive it. I have questioned whether I could be someone you would speak to, whether I have disqualified myself, whether I have missed too many signs to still expect direction. But you are not silent because I have failed. You are patient. You are kind. You are always communicating. Sometimes I have just been too hurried, too hesitant, or too hard on myself to recognize it. I ask that you quiet the voices that compete for my attention. The voice of fear that says, I will choose wrong. The voice of shame that says, I am unworthy. The voice of doubt that says, I am imagining things. Drown them out with truth. Let your voice be the loudest, even when it is softest. Let it override the noise of my insecurities, my history, my logic. Let it speak to the part of me that still dares to believe I was created for communion with my Creator. God, remind me of the many ways you speak, through scripture that leaps off the page like it was written just for me, through songs that say what I did not know I needed to hear, through nature's quiet majesty, through people who do not even realize they are being used, through circumstances that align too perfectly to be chance, through the quiet conviction that lingers when all is still. Let me be sensitive to every avenue you use. Let me live with ears open and a heart expectant. I want to walk through this day differently, attuned, aware, present, listening not only for answers, but for affection, for correction wrapped in gentleness, for wisdom that slows my rush, for reminders that recenter my spirit. Let me not just speak prayers, but receive direction. Let me not just ask questions, but be willing to sit long enough to hear the response. And even when the answer is wait, or not yet, or trust me, let me hear the love in your tone. And Lord, help me obey what I hear, because sometimes the issue is not that I do not hear you, but that I hesitate to respond. I question. I delay. I look for confirmation when faith is calling me forward. Teach me to be quick to follow, to move when you say move, to speak when you say speak, to be silent when you whisper peace. Let me respond not out of pressure, but out of love, not out of fear of missing it, but out of joy in pleasing you. Thank you for never withdrawing your voice, even when I stopped listening. Thank you for whispering again, even when I have asked 100 times. Thank you for being patient with my process, steady with your presence, faithful in every way. You do not give up on relationship. You keep drawing me close, not just to inform me, but to be with me. Because you are not just a voice, I am learning you are a person. And the more I know you, the more I recognize your sound. Let this be the beginning of a new rhythm, one where listening becomes a way of living, where my first instinct is not reaction, but attention, where my soul is trained to hear you in the ordinary, where I expect you in the silence, where I seek you not just for solutions, but for companionship, where I follow not because I understand every detail, but because I have come to trust the one leading. Speak, Lord. Your servant is listening, not just once, not just when desperate, but always, throughout the day, in the waiting, in the wondering, in the worship. Let your voice become the guiding melody of my life, one that I never outgrow, never outpace, never outlive, because when you speak, even the winds obey, and if the winds can follow, so can I. God, now that I am learning to listen again, to lean in and recognize your voice as steady and near, something deeper begins to stir within me. It is faint, but unmistakable, a flicker in the dark, a soft breath in a space that once felt lifeless. There are places in me, Father, that have been quiet for far too long, dreams I have buried, callings I abandoned, passions I once held with fire, now resting under layers of dust and silence. But as you whisper, I feel them move, I feel them shift, and I hear you calling into those places, not with accusation, but with authority, calling them by name, calling them to come forth. I have stood outside the tombs of my own hope. Lord, I have rolled stones in front of visions I once believed in. I have wrapped promises in grave clothes because disappointment convinced me they had died. I have grieved over things I thought would never live again, and in that grief, I stopped checking to see if you were still standing outside. But you were. You always were. Just as you stood outside the tomb of Lazarus, weeping in compassion but speaking with power. You now stand before every part of me that has been declared dead, and you say, "Rise." You never asked me to be the resurrection. You asked me to believe. You asked me to trust that even when I see no signs of life, even when the scent of death is thick, even when time has passed and all logic has ruled it out, you are still able. You are still the one who calls what was lost back into being. You are still the one who interrupts funerals with miracles. You are still the one who arrives after everyone else has given up and proves that you are never late, only working on a higher timeline than mine. So now, Lord, I dare to open the places I have sealed off. I dare to stand in front of what I once left behind and ask you to speak. Speak to the calling I thought I ruined. Speak to the purpose I feared I forfeited. Speak to the creativity I let fade. Speak to the voice I silenced. Speak to the courage I once had but packed away. I bring it all out again, trembling but hopeful. I unwrap it from shame and fear and doubt, and I offer it to you, not because I know what you will do, but because I trust if you are calling it forth, then you still intend to use it. You do not resurrect things for decoration. You raise them with purpose. You restore what has meaning. You redeem what still carries life. So if you are breathing again on what I buried, then I will no longer resist. I will stop calling myself disqualified. I will stop pretending I am too far gone. I will stop measuring your power by the time I have spent in hiding. I will start agreeing with what you speak instead of what fear has whispered. Let resurrection come, not just to potential, but to identity. Let it come to every place in me that believed I had to settle. Let it come to the version of me that traded wonder for survival. Let it come to the fire that once fueled my prayers, the hunger that once kept me on my knees, the faith that once made me risk everything. Let it all come back not as it was, but stronger, deeper, more refined. You do not simply restore. You rebuild. You renew. You multiply. And I know that revival is rarely instant. Sometimes it begins with a tremor. Sometimes it feels like confusion before it feels like clarity. But even the smallest movement tells me you are at work. So I choose not to dismiss the stirring just because it is not finished. I will not speak death over what you are resurrecting. I will not call dormant what you call waking. I will not label broken what you are reshaping. I will not step back from what you are telling me to step into. Bring mentors into my life who will speak life into these new beginnings. Surround me with people who see what you see. Give me the wisdom to steward what you raise. Teach me how to protect the new without becoming fearful. Let me nurture growth without clinging to control. Let me walk with open hands, trusting that what you give, you will sustain. And Lord, help me release the shame of delay, the guilt of not moving sooner, the embarrassment of having to start again. There is no condemnation in resurrection. Only grace. Only power. Only love. You did not scold Lazarus for lying in the tomb. You called him by name and gave him back his life. Do the same for me. Call me out from the places where I have hidden. Call me forward into the things I was made for. Let your voice be louder than the silence that kept me stuck. I choose to walk forward now, even if I still feel wrapped in remnants of what held me back. I choose to take steps, even if I do not yet feel ready. Because readiness is not a feeling, it is a response. And I respond to your voice. I rise to your call. I come out of the grave of complacency, of doubt, of fear. I shed the weight of who I was and move toward who I am becoming. And as I walk, let others see the evidence of your power. Let my story become a testimony. Let my healing become a hope for those still waiting. Let the places you resurrect in me awaken something in them. Let my journey be a living example that nothing is too far gone, that no one is too far lost, and that with you, it is never too late. You are the resurrection and the life, and you are not finished with me. Not now. Not ever. If you are still speaking, I am still becoming. If you are still calling, I am still walking. If you are still moving, I will not settle. I will come forth not in fear, but in faith, not with shame, but with surrender. Not because I have strength, but because I hear you calling. And that alone is enough. Lord, it feels strange to be here, in this space between what was dead and what is alive again. After the trembling of awakening, after the calling forth, there is a stillness now that I did not expect, a quiet that almost feels like silence. Not because you are gone, but because you are letting me hear myself without all the noise. And in this silence, I meet myself again, not the broken version, not the striving one, but the soul that remembers who it is to belong fully to you. You are not a God of chaos. You are the God who speaks to the storm, and it must obey. You are the God who whispers and shakes the mountains. You are the God who does not rush the dawn, but allows light to unfold slowly across the sky. And if this silence is from you, then I do not resist it. I will not confuse silence with absence. I will not panic because I cannot feel the fire the same way I did a moment ago. I will trust that silence can be sacred, too. That stillness is not punishment, it is preparation. There is something you are settling in me, something you are anchoring. You are letting truth sink deeper, letting faith stretch its roots into places where emotion cannot reach. You are shaping endurance, not just excitement. Maturity, not just moments. You are making my soul steady enough to stand when the wind returns. Because I know it will. The storm always returns. But this time, I will not be afraid. Because I will not be the same. Even now, I sense the air changing. I can see the full shape of what is coming. But I can feel it rising, your promises, unfolding beneath the surface, unseen but not idle. You are not still because you are sleeping. You are still because you are building, forming, strengthening. And I realize that sometimes you go quiet right before the heavens break open. Not because you are withholding, but because you are about to release more than I can carry all at once. So you slow me, you quiet me, you prepare me. You have taught me not to fear the waiting. You have taught me to pay attention in the pause, because what you are doing in me here will hold what you are about to do through me. You have shown me that silence is not the absence of miracles, it is the space in which faith grows without applause, where trust is tested without confirmation. And it is in these hushed hours that I choose to worship, not for what I see, but for who I know you are. God, I bring you the tension I carry in this in-between space. I offer you the questions that linger when answers remain just out of reach. I confess the temptation to rush ahead, to force open doors not yet ready, to grasp what you are asking me to wait for. Teach me restraint. Teach me how to be present without pressing. Teach me how to hold holy what feels like a delay, to embrace the pace of your perfect timing. Let me not miss the beauty in this breath between breakthroughs. Let me cherish the still water after the storm. The sound of nothing but my heart returning to rhythm with yours. Let me recognize this as a holy hush, a sacred quiet that invites reverence. Not restlessness. Let me sit beside you with nothing to perform, nothing to prove, and find that you are enough, even when you are silent. Because your silence never means distance. It means depth. It means you trust me enough to walk with you without needing be carried every moment. It means you are inviting me into intimacy, the kind that does not rely on spectacle, the kind that remains even when the music fades, the kind that knows you are as near in whispers as you are in wonders. So I choose to breathe deep here, to exhale the urgency, to release the panic that says, I must keep moving or I will be forgotten. I am not forgotten. I am held. I am seen. I am being formed in quiet places for things not yet revealed. I trust that this silence carries your voice in ways I do not yet understand. That even when I hear nothing, your word is still alive, still active, still shaping every moment to align with heaven's design. Prepare me in the hidden place. Make me resilient in the slow. Build my capacity to carry joy without needing noise. Strengthen my ability to obey without constant reassurance. Teach me to trust that even when I can trace you, I can still trust you, because you have never once failed. And you are not about to start now. And if this silence stretches longer than I imagined, let it not turn to discouragement. Let it turn into devotion. Let it deepen my gaze, sharpen my hearing, refine my desires. Strip away every shallow craving and awaken in me a hunger for the real, the eternal, the unshakable. Let me come out of this silence not only stronger, but more surrendered, more grounded, more in love with you than I have ever been. Because what you are doing in this stillness is not subtraction, it is sanctification. You are not holding me back. You are holding me together. You are not hiding from me. You are healing me. And when the clouds break and the next chapter begins, I will not forget this space. I will not forget the quiet where I found my voice again, where I remembered who I am in you, where I stopped striving and started abiding. Thank you for trusting me with this silence. Thank you for meeting me here. Thank you for being a God who does not just speak in thunder, but in still, small voices. I am listening. I am resting. I am ready. God, in the silence, something broke open, not with noise, but with revelation, not with fanfare, but with light leaking through the cracks I once tried to hide. I used to think healing looked like being whole in front of the world, flawless and put back together. But you are showing me that healing often begins in secret, in the slow returning of breath to places I forgot could still breathe. You are teaching me that light does not always rush in, it seeps. Gently, persistently, through the smallest surrender. What was once sealed tight in fear is softening now. I can feel the edges of old wounds giving way to something kinder. And you, Lord, are not standing over me with judgment. You are kneeling beside me with tenderness. You are not asking for perfection. You are asking for honesty. You are not demanding strength. You are welcoming truth. And in this space, where broken things are exposed to light instead of shame, I find that I am not alone. You never recoil from the mess. You never flinch at the scars. You do not back away when I bring you the things I thought were too ugly to speak aloud. Instead, you draw closer. You touch the places I have tried to numb. You name the pain with gentleness, not accusation. You remind me that you already saw it all and still chose to stay, that even when I had no words, you were already healing what I was afraid to name. This morning, I bring you those places again, the ones where I feel the ache, even though I have smiled through it, the ones where hope feels too risky, because disappointment has come too often, the ones where I have braced myself against joy, afraid it would vanish the moment I believed it. You see all of it. And still, you whisper, "Come closer," not so I can fix myself, but so I can be held while you restore what I cannot. God, you are the light that does not burn, but warms, the light that does not expose to humiliate, but reveals to redeem. You are the steady flame that does not demand I be fearless, but offers peace in the face of fear. And you remind me that resurrection does not always come with trumpets, sometimes arrives in quiet mornings, where I choose to believe again. Even if just a little more than yesterday. I used to beg for you to take the brokenness away. Now I am learning to ask for you to make beauty out of it, to shape something meaningful. Even here, even now, I want to be whole. But more than that, I want to be yours. I want to be healed, but even more, I want to be held. I want my life to be a reflection of grace, not just survival, not just getting by, but becoming something radiant with your presence. And it is happening not in a rush, not all at once, but in this moment and the next. I feel you drawing out what has been buried. I feel you loosening the lies I believed about what I deserved. I feel you replacing fear with compassion, anger with rest, shame with belonging. I feel you reteaching me how to be human, not as the world defines it, but as you intended, rooted in love, formed in mercy, known completely and never abandoned. Let this day be one where I stop covering the cracks. Let me no longer pretend to be what I am not, just to feel accepted. Let me live honestly, tenderly, unguarded in your presence. Let me become a safe space for others, because I have known what it is to be safely loved by you. Let the places I once considered disqualified become the places you shine through most. I am not afraid of the light anymore. I am learning to love it, not because I am proud of what it reveals, but because I am learning to believe that nothing in me scares you. Nothing in me is beyond the reach of your mercy. Nothing is too shattered for your restoring hand. You make mosaics out of rubble. You make music out of silence. You make meaning where once there was only pain. And you are doing that in me. Right now, you are not rushing me, and so I will not rush myself. I will walk at the pace of grace. I will let you lead, even if it is one quiet step at a time. I will trust that what you are building cannot be undone by my past. I will trust that healing is not something I must manufacture, but something I receive when I stay near to you. I will open the door again, even if only a little, and believe that your light will enter, not to scorch, but to heal. Father, thank you for not turning away from the parts of me I once wished you could not see. Thank you for calling me worthy even when I called myself too far gone. Thank you for never rushing my return, never mocking my slowness, never growing tired of my reaching. You are endlessly patient, incredibly kind, and in your kindness, I find the courage to keep showing up, to keep bringing my heart to the surface. Let today be marked by gentle restoration. Let it be a day of deep breath and soft tears. Let it be a day where I do not strive to prove anything, but rest in being deeply known. Let the sunlight fall on my skin like a promise. Let the air around me remind me that I am alive on purpose. And let this life, this fragile, sacred life be a home where your presence dwells fully, even in the rooms that are still under repair. You are here, and that is enough. You are healing, and that is hope. You are light in my darkness, and I do not need to hide anymore. Lord, as I sit quietly in this sacred early hour, the silence around me feels like an invitation to open the sealed places of my heart. From the last breath of yesterday's surrender, I feel something stirring an ache I have tried to ignore for far too long. It whispers from beneath the surface, where I have buried sorrow and shame like forgotten bones beneath the earth. But you see it all, God. You were there when the wounds were made, and you are here now, inviting me to lay them before you, not with fear or guilt, but with trust and trembling hope. So I come, not as someone who is whole, but as someone who longs to be. I bring my broken pieces, those quiet pains I never speak aloud, the losses I told myself I should be gotten over, the betrayals that still bleed beneath a smile. Father, they feel small when measured by the world as tragedies, but they are mountains in my chest. I do not want to carry them anymore. I am tired of pretending to be fine. I need healing, not hiding. There were days when I laughed through tears, convincing others and even myself that I was strong. But you know the truth. You saw the nights I collapsed in the dark, clutching my own chest, begging for the pain to pass. You heard the cries I buried in pillows, the silent sobs I offered like incense without words. And still, you stayed. You never left the threshold of my aching. You never walked away. I do not understand why some wounds do not fade with time. I thought if I distanced myself from them long enough, they would vanish. But instead, they have grown roots, entangled in my identity. That is what scares me most, that pain has become part of how I see myself. Lord, pull it up by the root. Uproot every lie it whispered to me, the ones that said I was not worthy, that I was too much or not enough, that I deserved the silence, the rejection, the abandonment. Rewrite those narratives with truth. Let my heart learn a new language, one that speaks of belovedness and belonging. You said you are close to the brokenhearted, that you bind up their wounds. I hold you to that promise now, not in arrogance, but in childlike desperation. I am not asking for answers, God. I am asking for your nearness, for the kind of closeness that silences the storm within. Meet me where the pain lives. Walk with me through every hallway of my memory where shadows still whisper. Turn on the lights there. Clean the dust from the corners I have refused to look at. And if tears come, let them fall freely, not as weakness, but as a holy release. Father, I think of the woman who reached out for the hem of your garment, believing just a touch could heal her affliction. I understand her now. The exhaustion of long suffering, the courage it takes to reach again after years of disappointment. I am reaching too, not with hands but with hope, with trembling faith that perhaps today is the day healing begins. Even if it comes slowly, even if it unfolds one breath at a time. I believe you will not let my pain go to waste. You redeem what others discard. You collect every tear in a bottle. You do not forget. Help me forgive the ones who wounded me, especially those who never apologized. That is the hardest part, to extend grace to those who never ask for it. But I cannot keep drinking the poison of bitterness and expect to be whole. Set me free from the prison of resentment. Let me remember that they are broken too. I release them into your hands now, not to excuse their actions, but to escape their shadow. I choose freedom over vengeance, healing over hatred, peace over pride, and help me forgive myself too, for the things I said when I was hurting, for the mistakes I made while bleeding, for the ways I tried to cope that only made things worse. You are not surprised by my failures. You knew them before they came, and still you called me yours. That is the mystery I can hardly grasp, that you love me not in spite of my wounds, but in the very place of them, like a sculptor who cherishes every crack in the clay, not because it mars the shape, but because it tells a story of forming. So I rest in that now, not as someone who is fixed, but as someone being held. The healing may take time. It may come in layers, but I trust you with the process. I will no longer rush past my pain. I will meet you inside of it. I will stop apologizing for my tears. I will give them to you as worship, knowing you understand them even when I do not. You speak the language of sorrow fluently, and you answer not with distance, but with presence. You are the God who weeps with me, the one who kneels beside me when I can't get up, the shepherd who carries the injured lamb, not scolding her for falling behind, but holding her close until she can walk again. I feel your arms now, not just in concept, but in quiet certainty. I may not know the way ahead, but I know who walks beside me. That is enough for today. That is enough for this moment. And as morning light brushes the window pane and the world slowly awakens, I remain here with you, not rushing, not hiding, just being, just breathing, just believing that somehow, through this sacred honesty, healing has already begun. Lord, even now, as I inhale this sacred silence of morning, my heart leans gently into the quiet truth that you are not rushing me. You are not a God of haste or panic. You move with purpose, with perfect timing, with infinite wisdom. The same hands that formed mountains and shaped oceans are now gently shaping the contours of my life. And though I often cannot see what you are forming in me, I am learning slowly and humbly to trust the process of becoming. I sense, Father, that healing does not come as a single moment, but unfolds as a journey, step by step, layer by layer. Just as the dawn does not burst through the night, but rises gradually, so too do you raise me out of despair and into light. You do not rip away the pain. You unravel it tenderly. You do not demand that I be whole all at once. You walk with me through every unfinished place. You are not disappointed by my slowness, for you see my striving, my aching, my quiet reaching for you in the dark. Lord, when I feel that nothing is changing fast enough, remind me of the seed buried in the earth. Though hidden, it is not forgotten. Though silent, it is not still. Deep in the soil, something sacred is taking root, and I too, buried beneath the weight of waiting, am growing, even when I cannot measure my progress. You are the one counting every small movement of my soul. I am being transformed, not in an instant, but in the rhythm of your grace. God, I bring you my fear of being left behind, of not arriving soon enough, of still being broken when I should be mended. I bring you the heaviness of comparison and the noise of timelines I have placed on myself. Strip away the pressure, the panic, the self-imposed urgency, and in its place, clothe me with patience, with wonder, with deep surrender. Let me marvel not just at what I will become, but at what you are doing in me now. Teach me to trust that healing is not linear. There are days I take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. There are moments when I feel the peace, and others when fear still finds its way in. But you are in them all, God, in the leap and in the stumble, in the singing and in the silence, in the breakthrough and in the breaking. And because you are in it, none of it is wasted. I know now that becoming whole does not mean I will never feel pain again. It means I will not be undone by it. That even in weakness, I can walk forward. That even in sorrow, I can carry hope. You are teaching me to walk not by sight, but by trust, to believe that if you are with me, I am already safe. I do not need to see the full picture to know I am being held by the artist who never misplaces a single stroke of his brush. So today, I give you my impatience. I place into your hands the things I want to fix, change, or control. I offer you the tightness in my chest, the restless thoughts, the clenched fists. I loosen my grip, Lord. I breathe deeper. I soften. I trust. I say yes not just to the destination, but to the unfolding. Yes to the pauses, the detours, the seasons where nothing seems to bloom. Because if you are the gardener of my soul, then nothing is truly barren. Even winter serves a purpose. God, remind me of your faithfulness in the wilderness. You are not just God of the promised land. You are also the God of the wandering, of the waiting, of the aching. And you do not withhold love from me until I arrive. You pour it out now, in the middle, in the messy, in the process. Let me walk today not with frustration, but with reverence. Let me honor the work you are doing in the unseen places. Let me speak kindly to myself. Let me hold space for the tenderness of my own transformation. And when I doubt again, and I will pull me back into the quiet assurance that I am exactly where I need to be, not behind, not forgotten, not failing, but becoming. Lord, thank you for not rushing me. Thank you for walking with me. Thank you for the sacred work you are doing in me that I cannot yet explain or fully understand. I open my hands. I breathe in grace. I keep moving forward, not in striving, but in surrender. And as I take each step, however small, I will remember this too is holy. This too is part of the becoming. Lord, as I continue from the quiet place you have drawn me into, I bring with me the stillness that has softened my heart and the echoes of your nearness that continue to stir something deep inside. I come not to ask for guarantees, but to hold on tighter to the anchor that is you. even when the path bends beyond what my eyes can see. I choose to believe you are already there. Walking ahead, clearing the thorns, whispering courage with every silent step. Each breath I take now feels like a whisper of surrender, a soft confession that I do not have to know everything will turn out. I only need to know that you are in it. You are not simply watching from above. You are here in the cracks, in the waiting, in the tremble of my hands, when fear tries to fill in the blanks with its cruel predictions. I will remind my soul that hope is not wishful thinking. It is certainty rooted in who you are. God, you are the kind of steady that does not shift when the waves rise. You are the light that does not flicker when the winds howl. You are the shelter that does not crumble even when everything else shakes. You are not late, not silent, not indifferent. You are love, constant and near, and that is where my hope breathes. I confess, Lord, that it is easy to let my eyes drift toward everything I do not have, everything I am waiting for, everything that hurts. But you have been showing me that hope does not come from getting what I want. It comes from discovering that what I truly need is found in you. When my plans fall apart, that is when I most clearly see the hand that holds me together. Hope has become a song I hum when I can pray out loud. It is the quiet steadiness in my chest that rises when the world tells me to despair. It is your presence in the middle of the mess, not just at the end of the story. It is not about rescue from the fire, but peace inside it. It is not about skipping the storm, but learning to sleep in the boat because you are near. There have been mornings, Lord, when I have opened my eyes and dread greeted me before daylight. But then I speak your name, and something shifts. Not always the circumstances, but something within me. A hush falls over the panic. A strength settles in, and I know again I am not alone. I am not forgotten. I am not a lost cause. I am learning to hope with my feet still in the valley. I am learning that waiting with you is not wasted time, but sacred ground. You are doing something in the unseen, shaping my spirit, refining my trust. You are growing patience in the soil of surrender. You are deepening my roots not in outcomes, but in the unshakable soil of who you are. I do not need to see the full picture to trust the artist. I do not need to hold the answer to walk forward in faith. What I need is a heart that keeps choosing you, even when feelings fail, even when doubts whisper. You have never failed me, and even if my path leads through long seasons of silence, you will still be faithful. Let my hope not be in breakthroughs alone, but in the one who holds all breakthroughs in his hands. Let it not be tied to quick fixes or short-term comfort, but to the eternal assurance that you are with me, that you are good, and that nothing can separate me from your love. In this I find my rest. In this I set my eyes. Lord, keep my heart soft in the waiting. Let it not grow bitter or anxious or impatient. Teach me to sing before I see, to praise before the promise arrives, to trust before I understand. I want to be someone whose life declares you are enough, even in lack, even in longing, because you are. So when the noise of fear grows loud, I will listen deeper for your whisper. When the pressure to have it all figured out crushes in, I will lean into the grace that says, I do not have to. You already do. And that is where I plant my hope, not in my own strength, not in outcomes, but in your unfailing heart. Let every disappointment become a doorway to deeper intimacy with you. Let every closed door be a divine redirection. Let every prayer unanswered in my timing become an invitation to trust your higher ways. Hope does not mean pretending I am not hurting. It means I am holding onto you even while I hurt. You are the reason I can rise again. You are the reason I can look at tomorrow and not flinch. You are the steady breath in my chest, the anchor in my chaos, the calm in my confusion. You are the keeper of my days, the giver of every dawn, the Father who never turns away. So here I am again, with hands open, heart bare, and eyes lifted, not because everything makes sense, but because you are worthy of my trust. And that is enough for today. Lord, as the stillness of your presence continues to steady my soul, I carry forward the whisper of hope you planted in me. The peace you left in the quiet moments of the last hour still lingers, like morning dew resting gently on the petals of a waking flower. You are the calm when everything feels unsteady, the clarity in my confusion, and the peace that surpasses what I can explain. You are the breath in my lungs when fear tries to steal my voice. You are the warmth in my chest when the cold of discouragement presses in. And in this early stillness, you awaken a strength within me that is not of my own making. It is yours, placed tenderly in the fragile chambers of my heart, waiting to rise with the dawn. Father, I lean into this sacred moment again, letting your assurance wrap around every place in me that has trembled in doubt. Your promises are not distant, they are alive, present, and they hold me. I remember the nights when my eyes could not close and my thoughts raced toward every worst-case scenario. But here, with you, I no longer need to run from might be. I only need to stand in what is that you are good, that you are with me, that nothing escapes your sight, even when the details are blurry and my next step feels unsure. Your voice becomes the lamp unto my feet. Your wisdom flows gently, teaching me how to walk by faith and not by sight, to trust in the unseen because you are already there. You meet me in the middle of my process, never demanding perfection, but always inviting surrender. I do not have to arrive with answers, I just have to arrive with a heart willing to be molded. So I place my motives before you. I release the pride I did not realize I carried, the need to prove or perform, the fear of being seen as less. I bring it all into the light, not to be shamed, but to be transformed. You are the potter, and I am the clay, and in your hands, nothing is wasted. Every fracture, every flaw, every disappointment I once tried to hide, you reshape it all for your glory. You craft beauty from brokenness, and I can finally exhale knowing I do not have to fix myself to be loved. Lord, I sense you whispering reminders of who I am, not the version the world wants me to be, but the beloved child you already know. I am not behind. I am not disqualified. I am not forgotten. I am chosen, called, and deeply known. You see the core of me, past the surface, past the exhaustion, past past the masks I sometimes wear to survive. And yet, you call me by name. You speak destiny into the places where I only saw delay. You declare peace over the battles I thought I had to fight alone. And you draw me closer not to overwhelm, but to restore, to refill, to refocus. As the light of this morning stretches farther across the horizon, so too does your grace stretch over every area of my life. You are not just God of the morning, but God of my story. You redeem my time, restore my joy, renew my spirit. You make me brave again, not loud brave, not attention-seeking brave, but deeply anchored brave, the kind of courage that walks forward even when no one sees, the kind that chooses faith over fear one small step at a time, the kind that clings to hope when everything screams to give up. That is the kind of strength you birth in me, and it is enough. So even now, I turn my heart away from hurry. I set my gaze on you. I allow the rhythm of your peace to recalibrate my mind, to silence the unnecessary noise. I no longer want to be pulled in every direction, trying to meet expectations that were never mine to carry. I want to move at the pace of your presence. I want to measure my success not by accomplishment, but by alignment. I want to start each day not by chasing outcomes, but by trusting in obedience. Because I know that when I am in step with you, fruit will grow even in the barren places, and purpose will rise even in the waiting. God, help me steward this day with intention. Help me listen when I would rather rush. Help me notice the beauty that still exists, even in the ordinary. Help me be kind when I am tired. Help me speak truth even when it costs. Help me reflect you in how I love, how I forgive, how I respond. Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be pleasing to you, not just in theory, but in action. Let my decisions echo the quiet commitments I have made with you in this secret place. Let my life bear witness not to my strength, but to your goodness. I know that difficulties may still come. I know that not every moment today will feel peaceful. But I also know that peace is not a feeling, it is a person. And you are with me in every conversation, in every choice, in every silence, and in every storm. You are the fourth man in the fire, the still voice in the whirlwind, the hand that pulls me up when I start to sink. You are never far, never late, never withholding. And because of that, I do not have to walk in fear. I do not have to figure everything out before I begin. I simply begin, because you are already ahead of me. Even now, I feel the wafting the invisible burdens that I could not articulate. You have seen them all, and still you carry me. You see what I do not say, and you respond with gentleness. You are not rushed. You are not irritated by my process. You are patient. You are present. And in your presence, I find home again. Not a location, but a place of rest for my soul. A place where striving ends and abiding begins. A place where wounds are healed slowly, but surely. A place where I can breathe, not because everything is perfect, but because I am no longer alone. Thank you for reminding me that hope is not naive, it is necessary. It is what anchors me in the unknown. It is what stirs me to keep believing, keep showing up, keep choosing grace. Hope is the melody you sing over me in the early hours, the gentle refrain that drowns out despair. So I receive it again. I hold it close. I plant it deep. And I rise to meet this day, not with fear, but with trust. Eyes lifted. Heart open. Spirit yielded. Father, as the morning unfolds and I continue to rest in the quiet stillness of your presence, I feel the weight of yesterday's burdens slowly melting away. There is something sacred about meeting you here, in the silence before the world wakes fully, when the mind is not yet cluttered and the heart is most open. I bring to you this moment, uncluttered and raw, offering it as a gift from my spirit to yours. I know you receive it with tenderness. The journey of faith often feels like walking through a field of unknowns. Each step forward invites either courage or hesitation. Yet here I am, with hands open before you, not just to receive, but to let go. I surrender the need to control, to predict, to understand everything. I trust that even what I do not see is being shaped by your hand. Help me to release what I cannot carry yesterday's regrets. Tomorrow's fears, today's pressure, and place them at your feet without taking them back again. Lord, you see how easily my thoughts wander, how my heart clings to worry like a vine to stone. I need your help to loosen the grip. Teach me to breathe deeply, to live simply, to believe wholeheartedly. Teach me to exchange striving for surrender and urgency for intimacy. Remind me that I am not here to perform for you, but to be with you. You never asked for perfection, only presence. Only willingness. Only faith. There is a soft H in me, a longing not always spoken aloud, a longing to be known, to be seen, to be enough. I bring that to you this morning without dressing it up. You know already. You see the hunger beneath my requests, the fragile places I mask with confidence, the doubts I quiet beneath declarations of belief. You are not offended by my questions, nor do you withdraw when I stumble. You come nearer. Let me not waste today waiting for ideal conditions. Let me step into it with courage that rises not from certainty, but from trust. Let me walk into rooms knowing I carry your light. Let me speak with kindness that echoes your tone, and make decisions that align with your wisdom. Let me love even when it is costly, forgive when it is inconvenient, and believe in the goodness of others, even when I have been hurt. For you have never given up on me. And in the hours ahead, Father, may I be sensitive to your promptings. Interrupt me if I stray. Stir me if I grow numb. If you want me to pause, help me not to rush past. If you want me to speak, fill my mouth with grace. If you want me to wait, help me to trust the delay. I do not want to live out of habit, but out of awareness. I want my choices today to reflect that I have been with you in the secret place. I confess that I often approach the day with a mindset of survival rather than surrender. I brace myself for what might go wrong, rather than expecting you to be present in it all. But this morning, I choose a different posture. I choose gratitude. I choose expectancy. I choose to believe that even the ordinary holds sacred potential when seen through eyes of faith. Nothing is wasted when you are in it. So, Father, Give me eyes to see you in the mundane, in the faces I pass, the tasks I repeat, the interruptions I resist. Let the soft wind that brushes my face remind me of your spirit. Let the warmth of sunlight on my skin tell me of your nearness. Let the smallest act of beauty remind me that you are always painting grace into my day, even when I am too hurried to notice. I offer my hands to you again, not clenched in fear or closed in selfishness, but open, ready, surrendered. Use them to bless, to comfort, to build, to carry. May they be instruments of peace in a world that aches. And when I am tempted to hold tight to what is not mine to keep, remind me that everything good I have is a gift and not a guarantee. Let me hold loosely, live fully, and love deeply. There are things I want, Lord, hopes I carry, dreams I have buried, prayers I have whispered in the night. I lay them before you without demanding answers. I trust your timing, even when I do not understand it. I trust your methods, even when they stretch me. I trust your heart, even when your silence is long. Let my faith not be anchored in outcomes, but in the one who never changes. Guide my words today. Father, let no bitterness hide beneath my tongue, no sarcasm mask my wounds, no pride cloud my speech. Let honesty flow gently, not harshly. Let truth be paired with mercy. Let every conversation be seasoned with grace, and every silence be filled with peace. Help me to hear the hearts behind the words of others, to respond rather than react, to bring calm where there is tension. And if I am met with hardship, disappointment, or frustration today, remind me that you are not absent. Remind me that my circumstances are not the measure of your love, nor are they the limit of your power. You are present in both triumph and trial, in delight and delay. Let me not lose sight of you when the winds shift and shadows fall. Let me lean in rather than pull away. Father, I want to live today in rhythm with your grace. Not ahead, not behind, but right here in sync with what you are doing in and through me. Let every breath be a reminder that you sustain me. Let every moment be a chance to encounter you again. Let every act, however small, be done with great love and deep reverence. I welcome this day, not because I know what it holds, but because I know who holds me. Lord, as I continue to dwell in the sanctuary of your presence, I carry forward the stillness you placed in me, the peace that comes not from circumstance, but from knowing that you are near, wraps around me like a quiet assurance that everything unfolding today has already passed through your hands. And so, I choose not to fear what I cannot control, but to rest in what you have already promised. You invite me, not into performance, but into alignment. You ask not for perfection, but for willingness. And here I am again, my heart stretching toward you, asking you to align my thoughts, my intentions, my responses with what pleases you. I do not want to just appear good on the outside. I want to be transformed on the inside. Shape my desires so that they echo the sound of your heart. Shape my decisions so that they ripple kindness into the lives I touch. Let there be no gap between what I claim to believe and how I live it out today. There is a constant tug in this world to divide my attention, to scatter my energy, to steal my stillness. But I want to live today with undivided affection for you. I want my eyes to stay fixed on what is eternal, not distracted by the temporary glare of convenience, or recognition, or self-preservation. Guard me from the desire to be seen more than to be faithful. Keep me from making decisions out of insecurity or comparison. Let me be content walking the quiet path you have chosen for me, even if no one applauds along the way. Father, help me love without keeping score. Help me serve without needing credit. Help me listen without waiting to reply. Help me be present with those in front of me, not tangled in regrets behind or anxious about what is ahead. Slow me down when I rush. Remind me to pause when I drift, and gently nudge me back to center when my focus slips away from you. I do not want to miss you in the noise. I do not want to live disconnected from the whisper of your spirit just because the world is loud. Let compassion grow deeper in me today. Let it be more than sentiment. More than words, it must be action. When I see need, give me a heart that moves. When I notice pain, show me how to bring comfort. Let me never become numb to suffering or indifferent to injustice. Even if I feel small in the face of what is broken, show me the one thing I can do, the one prayer I can whisper, the one kindness I can offer. Let love become my instinct, not just my ideal. Lord, there are wounds I carry that I do not fully understand, and pieces of my past I still do not know how to make peace with. But you see the full story. You are the keeper of every memory, the healer of every fracture. Walk me gently through my own restoration. Do not let me hide my hurt beneath distraction or dismiss it in shame. Teach me how to bring it to you, raw and unfiltered, so you can touch it with healing hands. I know that nothing I place in your care remains the same. You mend. You renew. You resurrect. Let joy not be something I wait for, but something I choose. Even if today brings challenges or setbacks, let me find joy in the ordinary. Let me celebrate progress, however slow. Let me laugh without apology. Let me notice beauty without rushing past it. Let joy be the melody that plays quietly beneath the rhythm of my responsibilities, not because everything is easy, but because you are with me. That alone is enough to birth joy from the deepest places. Father, I want my character to speak louder than my words. When people encounter me, let them feel a quiet strength that points back to you. Let my humility disarm defensiveness. Let my peace soften tension. Let my honesty break down walls. Let my gentleness reach even those who have built thick armor around their hearts. I want to reflect you in how I treat others. I want to carry the atmosphere of grace wherever I go, and in moments when I feel unseen, misunderstood, or overlooked. Remind me that you see every effort. You know when I show up even when it is hard. You notice the love I pour out without fanfare. You count every quiet offering that no one else applauds. And that is enough. I do not need to chase approval when I already have your affection. Let that truth settle deep inside me, anchoring me with calm. If I am asked to forgive today, help me release quickly. If I need to confess, help me do so without pride. If I must let go of something I deeply want, help me surrender it without bitterness. Strengthen my resolve to walk in integrity when no one is watching. Let my yes be true and my no be firm. Guard my motives and purify my heart so that nothing I do is driven by selfish ambition or hidden agendas. Let me value people more than opinions. Let me offer kindness over being right. Let me protect peace more than I defend my pride. There is too much noise in the world already. Let me not add to it. Instead, let me be a voice of gentleness, a carrier of calm, a presence that diffuses tension rather than escalates it. Fill me with a spirit that blesses even those who do not bless back. God, I want to partner with what you are doing today. I want to be attentive to the divine interruptions you place along my path. Open my eyes to the assignments I might miss because I am too busy or too self-focused. Whether it is a quiet nudge to reach out to someone, an unexpected opportunity to give, or simply being fully present with a stranger who needs to be seen, let me respond with willingness, not hesitation. Keep me from merely existing today. Help me live aware. Help me engage deeply. Love sincerely and serve joyfully. Let the day not slip past unnoticed. Let me walk it out with a heart awake and a spirit attuned to you. You are in every moment if I have eyes to see it. And above all, Father, shape me into someone who carries peace. Let my presence quiet chaos. Let my words bring healing. Let my actions restore what is broken. Let everything I do today be infused with your spirit, guided by your truth, and wrapped in your love. Lord, as I continue in this moment of sacred stillness, I recognize that the strength I need today is not the kind the world offers. It is not rooted in ambition, appearance, or the fleeting approval of others. It comes only from you, the kind of strength that endures storms, withstands doubt, and walks forward even when the path is uncertain. It is a strength that is born from your presence and cultivated through surrender. God, I do not want to live by borrowed energy, by caffeine, by momentum built from fear or pressure. I want to walk in the strength that flows from intimacy with you, the kind that radiates peace in the middle of noise, the kind that makes others wonder where it comes from. I want to live in the kind of quiet power that is not loud, but undeniable, that does not need to prove anything, because it knows has already been chosen. And as I breathe in deeply now, I let go of all the tension I have gathered from yesterday and the night before. I offer you all my striving, all my attempts to carry what was never mine to hold. I surrender the weight of proving, of pleasing, of performing, and I allow myself to simply be. In this stillness, I receive your strength like a river flowing into every dry place in me. I feel it begin to fill the caverns hollowed by worry. I feel it rise through my spine and take root in my soul. It is not about how strong I feel, but how willing I am to lean into you. So I lean hard. I lean with trust, even when I do not understand everything ahead of me. You know every demand that will be placed on me today, every unexpected turn, every need I will have to meet, every smile I will give even when I am tired. You know where I will feel stretched thin and where I might want to give up. But instead of shrinking, instead of pretending or powering through on fumes, I open my hands wide and ask for your strength to take over. Not mine, yours. Not temporary, eternal. Not strained, pure. I believe that in you, I lack nothing, not even stamina for what seems impossible. I believe you are strong in me, even when I feel weak in myself. And that is where my hope begins to rise. Let my strength today be marked by kindness, not force. Let it be expressed through patience and not pressure. Let it shine in my ability to listen without rushing, to speak without harming, to act without demanding. Let my strength look like love. Let it look like peace in the face of chaos. Let it look like presence when everything in me wants to escape. And when others see me, let them sense something beyond me. Something deeper, steadier, more grounded than any human effort can manufacture. Let them glimpse you, because it is not about impressing anyone or building a name. It is about being faithful. So strengthen me to be faithful in the smallest tasks, in the unseen kindness, in the things that are rarely celebrated but deeply sacred. Strengthen me to choose compassion over convenience, to pause and pray instead of reacting, to stand firm when it would be easier to hide, to continue loving when it would feel easier to protect myself. These are not things I can do on my own, but with you, they become possible. I ask you to be my strength in conversations that require grace, in moments that require forgiveness, in decisions that require clarity. I ask for strength to stay soft in a world that keeps telling me to be hard, to keep believing when disappointment knocks again, to keep trusting even when prayers take time to unfold. I do not want strength that looks good on the outside and collapses under pressure. I want the kind of strength that is honest, that endures, that grows even in darkness, and that kind comes only from abiding in you. So this morning, I abide. I rest in the truth that I am not required to do this day in my own might. I rest in the comfort that you walk with me into every room I enter. You already stand in the hallway of each meeting, each encounter, each challenge. You are my strength before I even need it. You are the courage before I speak, the gentleness before I answer, the discernment before I choose. And knowing that, I breathe easier. I begin this day not from a place of pressure, but from a posture of peace. Let your strength be the rhythm of my steps, the melody in my voice, the steadiness of my gaze. Let it guard me from comparison, protect me from burnout, and anchor me when I feel shaken. Remind me that I do not have to strive to be enough, because I already am enough in you. I do not have to scramble to keep up when I have been invited to slow down and be still. So I move through today not as one trying to prove something, but as one already accepted, already loved, already filled. And for those moments when I forget, when I get pulled into the noise or the fear or the doubts, gently call me back to this place. Call me back to stillness, to remembrance, to the strength that does not rush but remains. Keep me tethered to what matters most. Teach me to measure this day not by how much I accomplish, but by how well I remain rooted in you. May that be the true success I chase, not perfection, not applause, but connection, because strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet endurance. Sometimes it is holding on when it would be easier to quit. Sometimes it is choosing joy when sorrow lingers. This is the kind of strength I ask for. One that reflects your heart. One that does not run out at midday. One that meets me in my most human moments and lifts me with divine tenderness. Thank you for being that strength, for never growing weary, for inviting me to draw from your endless well. I take one more breath and I feel it settle in me, a sacred steadiness, a quiet fire, a peace that does not falter. And from that place, I rise to face the day. God, you know how the noise of life can drown out the quiet voice within. In the steady rhythm of these early hours, I find myself clinging to the gentle thread of stillness you wove into the fabric of this morning, from where I left off, in that sacred yearning to stay open. I come now needing not more words, but more awareness, not more answers, but more calm to receive what I already hold. In that space where my thoughts begin to settle, where my striving softens, I meet your presence not in thunder or flame, but in the hush that lingers after the wind. I find you in the breath I forget to notice, in the pause between doubts, in the sacred weight of silence that says more than words ever could. Father, thank you for the strength that is not loud or fast or seen by others. Thank you for the courage that simply stays, the kind that shows up when I do not feel brave, but choose to move anyway, the kind that does not need applause, only alignment with your spirit. Today, help me walk with that steady boldness, not the kind that pushes or demands, but the kind that listens deeply and responds slowly. Help me choose actions born not of urgency, but of understanding, of seeing as you see and loving in a way that leaves no one behind. Lord, there is a grace in stillness that I am learning to treasure, a power that does not control, but invites. You are teaching me that I do not have to earn peace, only make space for it. And making space means letting go of what I thought today had to be, of the pressure to be perfect, of the comparison that steals the joy of simply being present. Let today be less about proving and more about perceiving. Let me walk slowly enough to notice the color in the sky, the gentleness in a stranger's smile, the whisper of your reassurance tucked in the ordinary. God, show me how stillness heals what striving breaks, in moments where I am tempted to rush past my own needs. Remind me that restoration begins in rest, not in quitting, but in returning to you, returning to breath, returning to the truth that my worth is not measured by motion, but by connection. Let truth take root in me so deeply that no demand of the day can pull it loose. Let me be grounded in that truth when I speak, when I plan, when I pause. Father, help me protect this quiet space we have made. Let it not fade when the world grows loud. Help me carry it within, like a lantern in my chest that glows no matter where I go, in rooms that feel chaotic, in conversations that stir my insecurities, in decisions that stretch me thin. Let that quiet remind me who I am in you. Let it be a shield, not of resistance, but of resolve. A reminder that I do not have to react, only respond in love. That I do not need to defend what is true when truth is already my foundation. Lord, when anxiety knocks at my chest with urgency and fear, Help me return to stillness as a sacred practice, not a fleeting escape. Let it be the place I begin, not the place I retreat to when all else fails. Let it be the anchor that steadies me before the storm arrives, the posture I choose when uncertainty clouds the horizon. And if the stillness is uncomfortable, if it brings up pain or memories or longing I would rather avoid, help me trust that you are in those places too, that you are not afraid of my silence, my sadness, or my questions. God, help me soften the places in me that have grown too hard trying to survive. Help me open the fists I have kept clenched, not in defiance, but in defense. I no longer want to fight for control when surrender brings more peace. Let me be brave enough to release what weighs me down, even if it once felt necessary, even if it once kept me safe. Let this stillness be where I learn to trust again, not only in you but in the process you are unfolding, even when I do not see where it is leading. Father, make me fluent in stillness. Let it shape how I speak, not just in volume, but in intention. Let it influence how I listen, not just to others, but to myself, to you. Help me hear what is underneath the noise, the aching need for meaning, the quiet hope for something more, the subtle shifts of grace already at work. Let me live from that depth, not just in moments of prayer, but in the way I move through the world with softness, awareness, and deep reverence for what cannot be rushed. Lord, remind me that the most profound growth often happens in the unseen, like roots deep beneath the surface, unseen by others but essential to all that blooms above. Let me not despise the seasons of waiting or quiet, but honor them as part of the sacred rhythm you designed. Let stillness be a celebration, not a pause between productivity. Let it be enough. Let it be holy. Let it be mine. God, I do not want to live at the mercy of distractions or timelines. I want to be fully awake, fully present, fully aligned with the gentle movement of your spirit. Help me simplify where I have made things too complex. Help me focus where I have been scattered. Help me return where I have wandered, not through shame, but through love, not because I have to, but because I long to live a life rooted in what matters. Father, even now, as this day stretches ahead, filled with choices and voices and endless invitations to hurry, keep me close to the quiet. Let it not be an afterthought. Let it be my starting point, my sacred compass, my daily breath. When I forget, when I fall into old habits of rushing or reacting or reaching for what does not satisfy, gently call me back, not with guilt, but with kindness, with the same grace that meets me here, morning after morning. Let this stillness linger. Let it lead. Let it shape who I am becoming. And as it does, let me carry it not just for myself, but for others too. Let my calm become a place where others feel safe. Let my peace be a bridge, not a wall. Let this moment ripple out into everything I do today, leaving traces of you everywhere I go. Father, in the stillness I embraced before, I begin to realize how much of my heart atches not just for peace, but for clarity. Yet clarity rarely comes in a flood. It drips, softly, like dew settling on grass before the dawn. I often want to see the entire road, to understand each turn before I move, but you invite me instead to walk with you, step by step, with no map but trust. So I return to you now, not with polished faith, but with trembling surrender. I offer up the pieces of my confusion and lay them gently at your feet, knowing you never ask for perfection, only my presence. Lord, if there is one truth I long to root deeply in my soul, it is this, that your timing is never cruel, only careful, that the waiting I dread is never wasted, that delays are not rejections, and silence is not absence. Help me release the illusion that I must always be moving to be progressing. Teach me to trust the holy pause, the sacred slowness, the divine unfolding that often looks like nothing until one day everything blooms. God, when I grow impatient with the pace of your process, remind me that rushing only robs me of revelation. Let me not despise small beginnings or unfinished prayers. Let me find you in the in-between places, the half-written stories, the unanswered questions, the chapters still forming beneath the surface. You are just as present in the process as you are in the promise fulfilled. Let me not overlook that. Let me not lose sight of your goodness simply because the clock does not align with my expectations. Father, today I release the need to control what is not mine to command. I lay down the calendar I have created in my head, the expectations I have assigned to seasons, the silent deadlines that have whispered anxiety into my heart. I release them to you and trust the timelines I have clung to so tightly into hands that have never dropped a single detail. And in their place, I ask for a deeper faith, not blind faith, but faith with eyes wide open, looking for you not just in outcomes, but in every unfolding moment. Lord, grant me the patience to wait well, not with bitterness or resignation, but with quiet hope and confident rest. Let my waiting be active, not idle. Let me cultivate peace as I tend to what I can, while trusting you with what I can take. Let me water the seeds you have given me today. Even if I see no shoots yet rising from the soil, let me trust that beneath the ground, you are working in ways I cannot yet see, preparing something beautiful in secret. God, remind me that time in your hands is not measured by clocks or calendars. It is measured by transformation. And if what I desire requires more shaping within me before it arrives, help me not resist the shaping. Help me welcome it, even when it stretches me, even when it strips away what I thought I needed. If delay means becoming more like you, let me not curse it but cherish it. Let me say yes to the refining, even when the fire feels fierce. Father, calm the part of me that fears being left behind, that worries I have missed something or fallen behind some invisible standard. You are not in a hurry, and if you are not rushing me, why should I rush myself? Let me move in rhythm with you. Let me believe that what is meant for me will not pass me by, that what is truly mine in you will arrive not a moment too soon or too late, but exactly when I am ready to receive it. And until then, let my hands be open. Let my heart stay soft. Let my hope remain steady. Lord, I know the world around me chases speed, efficiency, and instant results, but I choose today to value what lasts over what comes fast. I choose the long road if it means deeper roots. I choose the hidden path if it leads to truer joy. I choose to trust that your pace is not punishment, but protection, not neglect, but nurture. Let that belief shape how I show up in every moment, less frantic, more faithful, less hurried, more held. God, teach me how to hold peace and longing in the same breath, to dream boldly and yet be content where I stand, to prepare for what is ahead without despising where I am. Let me live in the tension with grace, knowing you are there too. You do not rush me out of longing, nor scold me for desiring more. You meet me in that holy H and sit with me until it no longer feels like lack, but invitation. Invitation to trust, to grow, to love right here and now. Father, if I forget this truth in the noise of the day, bring it back gently, through a quiet moment, a kind word, a breath that feels like home. Let me recognize your fingerprints on the timing of my life, not just in grand miracles, but in quiet alignments and sacred delays. Let my confidence not rest in how fast things happen, but in who is holding the clock, in who writes the story, in who stands beside me, even in the chapter that feels slow or silent or unfinished. Lord, thank you for every unanswered prayer that protected me, for every closed door that rerouted me to something better, for every not yet that spared me from settling too soon. Let me remember those mercies when I face new waiting. Let me carry that history of your faithfulness like a compass, guiding me through the fog of not knowing. I do not need to see the whole picture to trust the artist. I only need to stay close enough to hear your brushstrokes. God, even now, as I prepare to walk into this day with its tasks, its questions, its surprises, I ask for eyes that see beyond the surface, for ears that listen for your timing, not just my own urgency, for a heart that beats in rhythm with your spirit. Let me be brave enough to go slow, to walk in wonder, to pause before reacting, to trust that I am not late, not behind, not forgotten. I am exactly where you knew I would be, and you are not worried. So I take another step, not chasing answers, but embracing your presence, not fearing the unknown, but welcoming what it might reveal. You are the keeper of time, the author of seasons, and the giver of every good and perfect gift. And I am learning to trust not just what you give, but how and when you give it. That trust is becoming my anchor. That hope is becoming my home. Lord, as the rhythm of this prayer settles into its final stretch, I come to you not with a desire to finish something, but to breathe more deeply in what has already begun. This moment, like the first, carries the same longing to know you more intimately, to walk with you more faithfully, and to live with the quiet courage that comes only from knowing you are near. And now, having poured out all that has welled up within me, I feel not empty but held, not depleted, but deepened. God, you have journeyed with me through every whispered fear, every fragile hope, every longing I dared to name in this sacred space, through the steady unfolding of each word. You were the undercurrent, the unseen hand guiding each syllable. You have shown me, again and again, That prayer is not a performance, but a posture. Not a ritual to complete, but a relationship to enter. Not a moment of escape, but a meeting place for transformation. Father, I do not know what this day will bring, but I know who is already in it. You who formed the dawn and named the winds. You who breathe over chaos and call forth calm. You who gather all my scattered thoughts and fears and shape them into something holy. You who waste nothing, not a tear, not a pause, not a broken prayer whispered through trembling lips. I stand at the edge of this new morning with that awareness resting gently in my spirit. Lord, I do not ask for a perfect day. I ask for a present heart. I ask for eyes wide open to wonder, for a soul soft enough to be moved by kindness, for a voice steady enough to speak peace into noise. Let my hands carry compassion as if it were second nature. Let my footsteps echo love wherever they fall. Let my presence leave a trace of grace behind me. If I do nothing else today but embody your presence, let that be enough. God, teach me to walk through this world slowly enough to notice the sacred. Let me pause long enough to hear the laughter of children, to notice the wildflowers pushing up through concrete, to witness the resilience in the eyes of a stranger. Let the distractions fall away like dust, and let the eternal rise like a quiet song in my chest. Life is not a race. Faith is not a finish line. It is a constant returning, a steady unfolding, a coming home. Father, help me to remember, when I get overwhelmed, that I was never asked to carry the whole world, only to carry light. And that light does not have to be loud to be real. It can flicker and still be faithful. It can tremble and still be true. Let me offer that kind of light to others today. The kind that does not demand attention, but simply invites warmth. The kind that does not seek applause, but offers presence. The kind that does not solve every problem, but refuses to walk away from pain. Lord, when doubts whisper that I have not done enough, remind me that being with you is never wasted time. That silence in your presence is not empty space, but sacred soil. That prayer is not the absence of action, but the foundation of it. Let me build this day not on striving, but on surrender, not on results, but on relationship. Let me wake into the reality that I am already deeply loved, not because of what I will do, but simply because of who you are. God, as this prayer journey draws to its quiet close, I feel no need to wrap it up with certainty. I would rather leave room for mystery, for continued conversation, for whispered prayers yet to be formed and questions yet to find their voice. Let this be a doorway, not a destination, a gentle reminder that I can come back here anytime, the moment I feel anxious, the moment I feel lost, the moment I just need to breathe and be reminded that I am not alone. Father, for every heart that has joined me on this path of words and wonder, I ask for blessing. For those who listen through tired mornings or quiet tears, may their spirits be refreshed. For those who walked alongside this prayer with heavy burdens or unseen hopes, may they feel known. For those who dared to believe again, even just a little, may they find that their faith grows not through answers, but through intimacy. May they walk away not just encouraged, but changed. Lord, thank you for this space, for this breath, for this sacred rhythm of stillness and surrender. And thank you for the ones who have stayed, who have journeyed through each chapter, not seeking performance, but presence. Their listening was not in vain. Their hearts were not unnoticed. Their prayers joined mine like streams flowing into a river individual, yet united. And I believe you heard every one, even the ones they could not speak aloud. To everyone who has reached this final chapter, thank you for making space in your day to pray with me. Thank you for staying through the silence and the stirrings. If your heart was moved, your soul touched, or your hope awakened at any point along this journey, I invite you to share your reflections below. Your story matters. Your prayer matters. Your words may be the light someone else needs today. Please consider subscribing to this channel if you have not already. It is a space where faith is nurtured daily, where we keep showing up, not with perfection, but with presence. Share this video with someone who needs comfort, hope, or just a reminder that they are not walking alone. Let this prayer continue to ripple out, to stretch its arms toward those who need it most. And as we part for now, may your day begin with peace like morning dew, your spirit rest like still waters, and your path be lit with the quiet glow of a sunrise just beginning to rise beyond the horizon. Let your heart remain open to grace. Let your soul breathe slowly, and may this prayer not end, but echo gently through the hours ahead, like a wind that carries whispers of heaven.